30 seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Couldn't be more excited for today. Could not be more excited. Hey, welcome to the show. Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. We got two major things on the plate today. Number one, we start with our NFL division breakdowns, Perloff. We're starting with the NFC West. We're going to get to the San Francisco 49ers in just one moment.
Mm-hmm.
uh-huh.
Yeah. That's all fine and good.
Yeah, and then that's sort of the appetizer. That's the sports part of the show today. And then we get to the main course, which is revealing the first quadrant of the Sitcom Bracket we've been working so feverishly on. It's the first region. It's the Seinfeld region.
I'm a little worried in you, Maggie.
Me? Why?
I think you're a little overconfident in this bracket in the sense that the heat we are about to take. I mean, this is like we are putting ourselves out there with this Sitcom Bracket, and there's gonna be some feelings in the nation off of this thing.
Okay.
I think you underestimate how emotional everyone is gonna get about this Sitcom Bracket.
All right. Well, we want the smoke. Again, we're just going to reveal one region today, and that will come your way in an hour. But throughout today's show, we are also going to be mixing in a breakdown of the NFC West, and we're going to do one division a day because, lo and behold, training camp is going to be starting here in about 10 days or so. Yeah.
Unbelievable.
I know. So let's start with the NFC West, Pearl, and a team that stands atop that division, and that is the San Francisco 49ers. And if I were going to make a blanket statement about what I think is in store for the 49ers this season, I do not think this team makes it back to the Super Bowl. And I'm sorry if that sounds harsh. This has been one of the best teams in the NFL over the past 5 years. But you're telling me that 2 Super Bowl losses where you had leads late and 3 losses in conference championships, you're telling me that that's not going to take a toll. You're also telling me that some of the great health that you had throughout last season, you're telling me that's going to remain. And on top of it, I just think it's really hard to get back. Your Philadelphia Eagles could not do it. There's a reason that only the Patriots have been able to do this, and this is going back to the early 2000s. It is so hard to make it back to the Super Bowl after a loss, and this was a devastating loss. It was a loss that felt like an unforced error because the 49ers had the ball in overtime and weren't aggressive enough.
Yes, that's all true. And obviously the Super Bowl losing jinx. But what do you expect? What can the Niners do differently to get ready to make another run? Like they do everything right to put themselves back there. You could say you're right. The sort of karma of it all and the bigger picture, it is very hard to get back to Super Bowl. But if you divorce yourself from that, is there any specific reason? Like, is there anything they're lacking? I mean, you could say health, but you could say that for all 32 teams.
Of course.
I'm not sure that they're more vulnerable. McCaffrey has been hurt on and off, and that's a huge deal. Bosa had lost the season. But generally, like, if you just look on paper, at all 32 teams, wouldn't you say that's a Super Bowl quality team?
Definitely. The roster is Super Bowl quality, but the best roster doesn't always make it to the Super Bowl. And here's the other part of this. Let's all be really honest with ourselves for a moment. I don't know if the 49ers should have been in last year's Super Bowl. They were trailing to the Detroit Lions and I talked about unforced errors in the Super Bowl with the 49ers in overtime. I mean, the Lions, I don't know how you get over that. And we talked about that for weeks about Dan Campbell and not being aggressive, then being overly aggressive and how they blew that lead. And this was a game that the 49ers were playing at home. And, it's like, it took basically the luckiest catch of all time by Brandon Ayuk, who does not have a contract and looks like he wants to play in Washington, D.C., as far away as San Francisco as you can basically get. And then we also, I don't know if, getting home field advantage. It worked last year, and thank goodness they had home field advantage, because if that game was in Detroit, they probably lose it. But it came down to the wire with the Packers. Definitely came down to the wire with the Detroit Lions. And I don't think Detroit, if put in the same position, I don't think they make those mistakes again. So, I'll give you a little bit more. So I talked about the unprecedented health on offense. On defense, they definitely had some injuries. We should talk about that. But unprecedented health on offense, or so I thought. It turns out after the season that George Kittle, who's coming off a first-team All-Pro year at tight end, had a core surgery where he lost 30 pounds. He's also 30. The Christian McCaffrey got a contract extension, yet at the same time, they're talking about how he needs to split more of the load because he can't be carrying it. He's their best offensive weapon outside of Purdy. And then Deebo Samuel is Deebo. He's great. Again, what's going to happen with Ayuk? Trent Williams, their left tackle, is fantastic. He's also 35.
Yep.
They've played 9 more games than any team outside of the Chiefs in the last 3 seasons. It adds up. And if you're going to ask me, is it more likely the 49ers win the Super Bowl or miss the Super Bowl next year? I have to say miss it.
Well, yes. But, I mean, even the Chiefs, like you could say, there isn't a single team. First of all, generally, there's no team where their odds are that they'll make the Super Bowl over not making the Super Bowl. So we have to acknowledge that it is a hard task.
Sure.
What I think the real debate is, and what I'm hearing from you is, are they the favorite in the NFC? And they are not. That you think that there's too much heat with the Lions, the Packers, probably the Eagles. I think those are the 3 biggest challengers. But as far as if you look at individual roster pieces and Kittle's injury, there's just no roster like this. That's the thing. Like, they have depth. Like, Kittle being injured, for example, or Kittle not being 100%. Like, is there an offense that can absorb a hit like that more than the Niners? He's their 4th weapon.
Right.
There's no, I mean, Kelsey is half the offense in Kansas City.
Right.
Kittle's a luxury in San Francisco. They have McCaffrey, they have Deebo, they have Ayuk, they had just drafted Ricky Pearsall, who sounds awesome. They have backup, say Elijah Mitchell was healthy in the running back.
Yeah, Jawan Jennings.
They have so many guys, like they don't need any single one of them except maybe Deebo and probably McCaffrey. And
Purdy is a given.
Yeah, and you'd also have a good point. They've always had injuries in the playoffs. I mean, Dre Greenlaw getting hurt in the Super Bowl might have cost him the Super Bowl.
By the way, he might not be ready for the regular season, which again, you can weather. Hufanga might not be ready for the regular season. And what are these guys like when they get back?
I mean, who cares? They have so many defensive stars. The big problem last year.
Charvarius Ward, by the way, also an offseason surgery. Go ahead.
I mean, the big problem last year, there was no reason for that defense to fall off. Steve Wilkes just did not jive. He tried to bring in a new system. So you got to assume that they elevated in-house guys, that the defense is going to improve greatly. They should be better.
Yeah, they got Brandon Staley back there. I mean, he's not the defensive coordinator. It's Nick Sorensen. You did bring Staley back into the building. Listen.
Well, they went from number 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2 to 8 last year. There's no way that's happening again. There's just no reason. Why did their defense fall off? Hufanga got hurt? Really? That's it? There's no reason except the coaching. Like they are the best linebacking core, the best defensive line, top 3 secondary. Like they have more talent than there may be 1 or 2 defenses that can match them on top. There's no reason they shouldn't dominate on defense. Like why were they all of a sudden having to go crazy on offense in the playoffs? Like that defense should do the job.
Okay, or something's wrong. I don't know.
I think it was the coach.
It could be the coach, but again, they got all the way to the Super Bowl, and some people I thought believed that the coach maybe had saved his job, that Steve Wilkes had saved his job because, again, the defense they were not being led by the defense, which maybe is crazy because you have Nick Bosa and you have Fred Warner, and I understand that. But at the same time, like you did get to a Super Bowl. And so you make the change. We'll see if it's better. And then let's also talk about another part of this. And I don't know how good the Seahawks are going to be. And I'm not saying the Seahawks are going to be a Super Bowl threat. And we're breaking down we're going division by division here, one a day until we get to training camp. But we're starting with the NFC West. And we're starting today with the 49ers. But we will get to Seattle and we will get to the Rams. We will get to Arizona throughout the show. Seattle brought in a guy, Mike Macdonald, right? Who is a defensive coordinator for the Baltimore Ravens. And what game and what moment really handed that second MVP to Lamar Jackson? When the Ravens came to San Francisco and beat them up. And that worked for Lamar, and that was great. But what was really the headline from that game was that Mike Macdonald and the Ravens had, along with some other defensive coordinators, had sort of figured some things out on Kyle Shanahan, right? And had the simulated pressure where all of a sudden Purdy was a little bit, rushed and a little overwhelmed. And now that guy is in your division. And it's going to be on Shanahan to try to have another zag where this guy might zig. Again, I'm just saying the book might be out a little bit more on what the 49ers offense is trying to do than we think.
But Shanahan's been doing this for 5 or 6 years in San Francisco. Like, all of a sudden this year it's going to fall off?
Well,
Why this year?
Because I think there was a reason, you and I always talk about this, I think there was a reason why they looked at Trey Lance and thought, oh, this is going to be the next iteration of our offense because he's going to be this dual threat quarterback.
Right.
And then it turns out Trey Lance never had enough reps and could not hack it and all of that stuff. And I think there was an idea that the rest of the league actually was starting to figure out Shanahan a little bit. And now I think you have a guy who's on your corner. I mean, there's a reason why Seattle did this. I think it was specifically a move to try to counterbalance Kyle Shanahan.
But then the Niners got lucky because they got Purdy. So
and Purdy's got to take another step forward.
Where's he going to take a step forward to?
Well, he's healthy now. He's at healthy offseason.
Patrick Mahomes?
He's getting nuts.
He's pretty darn good. I mean, he could not really do better than he did last year. I mean, statistically, there's not too far up to go. But real quick, I got to read this. Pro Football Focus, loves the Niners, obviously, because if you put them on paper, they're just amazing. They did this position ranking where they took every group. They took running back, receiving core, offensive line, defensive line, linebacker, secondary. Can you imagine? Running back, number 1, San Francisco, of course, McCaffrey. Receiving core, number 1, San Francisco, because they count tight ends part of the receiving group. Defensive line, number 2. Linebacker, number 1. Secondary, number 2. It is crazy how much talent they're putting out there. I mean, they're overwhelmingly, other than quarterback, the most talented team in the NFL. So that, I understand what you're saying about it's really hard to get back, but I think that you got to credit that front office and that coach. They've done everything they can do to give themselves the best shot. That, I think, has to be taken into account.
You're right about that, but how often do teams get this kind of window? You're talking about special teams, right? Like the Chiefs and stuff like that, and Patriots, and teams that really get this extended window, and they have not cashed in on it. Unless you want to give them just credit for getting to Super Bowls and getting to NFC Championship games, which we can do that. It is really hard to do that. I'm not turning my nose up at it, but to not have the hardware and to have the high profile, obviously they're all high profile losses and the way that they've lost, you don't get this forever. Like the last time that the 49ers had 3 double-digit win seasons in a row was Jim Harbaugh there. And then you know what? It fell off. And I know Harbaugh's a much different personality than Shanahan. Maybe they're both a little fiery, but Harbaugh might sort of wear out his welcome where I think Shanahan is not going anywhere. But you're in the window. Yeah. And then it can fall off kind of fast. Now, you're right. This roster looks great on paper. They're favored in every game they're playing. I get it. But again, we're asking the question, are the 49ers more likely to get back to the Super Bowl or not? I'm going to say no.
Well, I'll tell you, I think this window's open for a long, long time. I think if Shanahan stays there, Nick Bosa's pretty young. Purdy's very young. Fred Warner's mid-20s. I don't think he's getting old. And
Fred Warner's 27.
Yeah,
prime.
Trent Williams is you mentioned 35. So that's the only Trent Williams. Kittle probably doesn't have that much here, but I'm telling you, they don't need Kittle.
And McCaffrey's 27. But there's a lot of miles on that.
So yes, that's one thing to brace. But if you throw out a Bosa on defense and you're going to throw out Kyle Shanahan with weapons on offense, I don't think that window's closing. The other thing too is you look at 19. They don't need to be 14-3 and have home field to make a run in the playoffs. They are a tough playoff team with a lot. The Lions are dangerous. Don't get me wrong. The Packers are dangerous. But at the end of the day, all these Niners players, all of them have been there. They've all been in these big moments. So I think it's more likely that Kyle Shanahan breaks through Andy Reid style at some point than doesn't break through. So I think the window is definitely open. Now, I'm not saying they definitely hit it this year, but he's going to win a Super Bowl. Kyle Shanahan is going to win a Super Bowl. There's no way that cannot happen, Maggie.
Well, his dad eventually won him. His dad won him. But here's the thing. You remember we talked about this when it was the Stanley Cup final. This feels like a million years ago. And I got mad at the coach at Edmonton because they asked about the experience of the Florida Panthers. Yeah. And he said, well, ask the Buffalo Bills how that went. And we joked about it, and I'm such a big Bills fan, and I hated them for it. And, well, they ended up losing anyway, and they lost in 7 games in a really heartbreaking kind of way. And the Florida Panthers, they did have that experience of losing the year before and then finally breaking through. But we ask about whether experience actually matters. And is it the experience help, or is it the scar tissue that builds up? And it's a mixed bag. You can't say it's definitively one or another. If you are in our chat, good morning or good evening, wherever you are in this world, youtube.com/Infinity Sportsnet, twitch.tv/Infinity Sports Network, where this is an interesting question from Drunkle Sam, who changed their
Big July 4th for Drunkle.
Twitter avatar for the holiday. So we salute. Lynch or Shanahan, whose seat is hotter? See, the idea that anyone's seat is hot,
No
right?
one's seat is hot.
For but like
100% no.
I don't think so either.
Why would, let's forget Shanahan. Obviously, his seat is not hot. But why would John Lynch, has anybody done a better job? Name a GM, maybe Omar Khan in Pittsburgh, maybe the Lions. What do you want him to do? What pick has he not made? He got Hufanga in the 5th round.
No, I get it. But the Trey Lance was that was a miss by everybody. And they got lucky with Purdy that they took him with that last pick and then coached him up. Listen, they made their luck. I get it.
8 of the top 22 players in the NFL. They are stacked 1-2 at every single position. No GM could possibly do a better job. There's just no way.
855-212-4227. The fact that it's even a question.
It's not a question. Drungle Sam put it so. It's not a question. There's no hot seat for John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan. You can't say the fact that it's even a question. Put it out there. Is there anybody else besides Drungle Sam who thinks that John Lynch or Kyle Shanahan is on the hot seat?
I wonder if there is, though. I don't know. Listen, if you're the 49ers, you'll take it, right? You'll take it. And you'll love this brain trust. You might quibble with some things, but overall, you have to be happy as a fan. However, I do think there is part of the fan base that gets frustrated with Shanahan because of how they lost the 2 Super Bowls. How could you not? Could you not?
Are you kidding me? You think that if there's a Niners fan who'd rather have another coach, I'd like to hear it because you're not getting Andy Reid. You're not getting Sean McVay. So who's this other magical coach that's coming to San Francisco? Bill Walsh is not being reborn. There's no better coach for you. So if there are other Drunkle Sams out there, please call us because I think you're out of your mind.
Well, Cap is in our chat. Andrew Kaplan said, Drunkle Sam is asking the hard questions, to which Drunkle Sam said, I should stop drinking before the sun comes up. 855-212-4227. Again, the breakdown of the NFC West is going to happen throughout the show today. If you miss any part of it, we've got a podcast. You can always check that out. If you'd be so kind to give us a 5-star review. It's something small, but it really does help. So we'd always appreciate it. Or you can always check us out on our YouTube Rewind, which you can hit every day, youtube.com/Infinity Sportsnet. Okay, we're getting closer and closer to the Sitcom Bracket being revealed. So we'll get to that. We also have some news from yesterday that you need to hear. That comes your way in just moments. Sit tight. We're back in a moment.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 3 minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining.
On YouTube, tune in for some
1 minute,
laughs.
30
With
seconds
a beer
remaining.
in his hand and his feet on the grass, he cheers for the Bogusch and Perloff with a toast to the day. 4th of July is the best, you'll hear him say. Raise your glass like the sky, it's the 4th once more. Uncle Sam's got stories that you can't ignore. From Maggie to Perloff, he's got quite the plan to celebrate freedom with a drink in his hand. Uncle of the year with a patriotic twist. Watching sports and sipping brews, none he's missed. He jokes and he laughs, spills some too, it's alright. Cause Drunkle Sam's in charge of the fun tonight. Raise your glass like the sky, it's the 4th once more. Drunkle Sam's got stories that you can't ignore. From Maggie to Perloff, he's got quite the plan to celebrate freedom with a drink in his hand. From the fireworks
30
boom,
seconds remaining.
and the stars are out, Drunkle Sam's still laughing, oh there's no doubt. So here's to the uncle who loves his brew. Happy 4th of July from the YouTube crew. So watch me Sam have a laugh or two. He's the life of the party, brought to you by YouTube. With Maggie and Perloff, it's always a jam. Happy Independence, cheers, Drunkle Sam.
Welcome back, Maggie and Perloff. Maggie, I don't understand why people say there's no sports going on in July. I was stuck at home yesterday waiting for something.
Waiting for what? Like an Amazon package?
No, my daughter.
Someone.
I watched plenty of Wimbledon. Sorry, I'm thinking sitcoms. Plenty of Wimbledon, and there was Olympic trials going on left and right. So I've experienced the Olympic trials for basketball via our former colleague Ben Golliver's Twitter feed.
Yep.
So all I know about the American team is 5 clips, and I'm ready to anoint Cooper Flagg as the future of the NBA based on 3 minutes of Instagram video.
Yeah, so if this year nobody knew who anyone was who got drafted except for Bronny James and like maybe Dalton Knecht, maybe. Next year is going to be totally different. This kid, Cooper Flagg from Maine, of all places, going to go to Duke this year. He's like 17 and he's torching guys.
He can't. Is that right?
I think he's 17 or 18. He's super young and he's just like out there just taking people's lunch in this, Team USA select team. And how many teams are going to try to tank for this guy?
Wow. I mean, that's all of a sudden, because last year's NBA draft was just the worst.
It was just boring. We didn't know any of the guys.
No, I mean, nobody had
it.
It was the first time in a decade that no one had any incentive to lose in the NBA because, first of all, those picks, not only were they non-household names, they probably are, they're probably anchors those teams are going to have to pay. And they're like, we have to pay this SAR guy or whatever. It was a bad draft, but there's 2 in a row, right? There's There's Cooper Flagg is at next year after one and done at Duke, presumably. And then there's some kid in 2026. I heard Bill Simmons talking about AJ something, who everybody's already lining up to get number one in 2026.
Okay.
Like everyone's losing in a 3-year window.
Cooper Flagg is 17 years old, born in
Get outta
December
here.
21st, 2006.
2006, this dude was born. Like, LeBron was already in the league for 4 years, I believe. So here's the other part of it. So this guy is going to be like the next great American player, maybe. Again, he's from Maine, not exactly the basketball powerhouse of, say, L.A. or Atlanta, New York City, whatever. And now he's going to go to Duke. So are we going to have to dislike this guy now because he's going to be the next white star from Duke who might rub people the wrong way? I don't know anything about his personality. He seems like a totally fine person. But I'm sure when you get to know Christian Laettner and J.J. Redick, they're probably also fine people. We just, have started to hate them.
Not later. He'll admit he's a jerk.
Okay, well, whatever. I'm sure Grayson Allen's not that bad behind the scenes.
Whoa, that's those are your two names? Maybe we'll say that Woj is okay and that Shire's a nice guy. Grayson Allen and Christian Laettner Grayson Allen had the kicking in the groin problem.
Right, but I'm sure if you got to know him, like if he was sitting here, he might be a fine person, like Cooper Flagg seems to be. And also, Flagg doesn't seem to have that sort of agitator situation.
I think there's a game with Duke players. Like Grayson Allen, I think, was generally a difficult person, and Christian Laettner has admitted, I tried to get under people's skin. Right. Then you have the many, many players who are just awesome, like Elton Brand and all these.
Jason Tatum.
Yeah. Jason Tatum. Nobody hated Jason Tatum. So I think Cooper Flagg falls into the Jason Tatum category of just a great player. I saw him play. So he was in some high school in Florida last year, and it was an elite tournament. He was so far and away the best player. I'm like, oh man, this must be he's playing a local high school. It was apparently the number 2 school in the country, torching them. So it is going to be good. But he's not Wembanyama though, because he's a 6'9" sort of shooting guard. I don't know what he is. He's not going to physically dominate. He's just a really good shooter. He's good. I wish he was on the Olympic team. Why didn't they do that? Like they did with Christian Laettner. Put him on the Olympic team.
There's no room.
I don't want to see Kawhi again. I want to see Cooper Flagg. They should promote him. Would that be fun? What else did we have to watch here?
You think that Leitner's remembered well on that Olympic team? It's remembered as a joke. First, that it should have been Shaq. And two, there was a conversation whether or not it should have been Shaq. Yeah. And two, it's like he's like the forgotten guy. He's like a trivia question. No,
I know. And he was definitely a mascot for that team. There's no doubt about it. They needed somebody to carry the bags. But, why not make Cooper Flagg that guy?
17 years old.
Do we really need to see Anthony Davis with a big layup against France? Who cares?
We talked about Canada and how they're like the new basketball powerhouse.
Loaded.
And now it's like Maine. Like what we're right close to. It's just pretty close to Canada. Like what's happening here? It's I did not peg Maine to be the place where the next great American players come from.
5 of the first 8 players drafted were from France. So it goes to show we have no idea what's going on. The Canada thing is so weird. Like, why Canada? I know that there's former pros kids up there, but it doesn't. Why Canada is good at basketball makes 0 sense whatsoever.
I saw 26 NBA players from Canada.
Do you know how small Canada is overall? I don't, but it can't be big enough.
Please give us a geography lesson.
It's like soccer. Why is Canada almost as good as us? It makes no sense.
Almost.
Yeah, thank you.
Are you talking about soccer?
Oh, yeah. Canadian team might be better than the United States.
Oh, it's the coach, right?
The American coach that's leading the Canadian team, yes. Jesse Marsh.
Yeah, maybe it's coaching. Anyway, Team Canada basketball. We are rooting for both U.S. and Canada. That's an official show policy, right? We're rooting for Canada basketball. I am.
No, listen, I love Toronto. We're on in Toronto. I love going on with the hosts in Toronto. It's great. But, of course, we're going to root for the U.S. We're American.
No.
It's the Olympics. You have to.
But I'm rooting for Team Canada basketball almost as much as the American team.
Well, what if they play each other in the gold medal game? You've got to pick a side, dude.
I'm going Canada.
You're going Canada?
In basketball. I want America to dominate gymnastics and everything else. To see LeBron lose to Jamal Murray would be the funniest thing in the history of Olympics.
It's not just LeBron on the team. It's other unlikable people like Kevin Durant. I'm just kidding.
Well, Katie, yeah. It would be such a great story. Is it okay? All right, fine.
You want Steph Curry to lose?
Steph Curry is such an afterthought on this team.
One of the greatest players of all time.
I would love to see this team lose. It would be so funny. It would be amazing.
Then we could set up a poll question, Manny. Do you want Team USA basketball to win or lose?
Who would you rather, or you could word it, who would you rather see win, Team Canada or Team USA in basketball?
All right, you can put it that way too. Bogusch, can you believe this? I mean, it's like
just move already.
anti-patriot.
Just
I know.
move. Just go.
Move to Canada?
Yeah.
I wish.
Vancouver's calling.
Oh, God. You know how expensive the real estate is in Vancouver?
Fine. Winnipeg's calling. I got spots for you.
I'm not doing Winnipeg. I heard it's really cold.
Oh, there it is. So you can sit here in your AC studio and go, yay, Canada. We're actually not going to go there.
Canada Life Center, by the way, Winnipeg Jets.
I love how the real estate's too much in Vancouver, but New York is all right.
Well, it's
Good
one
luck.
thing. It's one thing to root for Noah Lyles or Simone Biles and all the Olympic sports, but you're telling me like you're going to get excited to watch LeBron James in the Olympics? Like he's the antithesis of Olympic spirit. Like the guy's already done everything. I cannot get into USA basketball, and I'm sorry. Does that make me unpatriotic?
Definitely.
Get out of here! It's LeBron. I mean, what is his fourth gold medal? This team is silly.
What are you rooting against next? Hot dogs, fireworks? Now we're rooting against apple pie?
Come on, it's LeBron.
First it was 10U baseball, now it's LeBron. You are a heartless man.
Honestly, it's like institutions don't even exist to you anymore.
I'm not even rooting against LeBron. I like LeBron James as a player, but just this Olympic team is just a collection of obnoxious people, and you can already see the Netflix documentary they're filming behind the scenes, and all the things they're going to say about how cool we are. Just to see them humbled would be awesome. Yeah, just the NBA team. Everything
well,
else.
That documentary's never seen the light of day. You're not getting
right,
a humble.
True. But it's definitely LeBron is definitely producing it. You know, as a fact, whatever his production company is filming right this second.
Oh, I think there's been a camera crew secretly following LeBron for probably a decade.
I would say LeBron probably puts 40% of his energy into his entertainment company. They're filming everything. They have all these shows coming out. They're all awesome. I think he's going to be great in that range, and I think the U.S. Olympic basketball team is on his agenda as a future documentary. He's viewing this as content, not as an actual Olympic event. That's why I'm against it.
Does this all end with LeBron with an EGOT? It's
No.
like an Emmy, a Grammy.
He's going to be like Kobe.
Oscar.
Definitely an EGOT guy.
It ends with
Tony's going to be funny.
Oh my God, the
Broadway.
tallest guy on stage.
It's Guys and Dolls starring LeBron James.
Joe Namath did it. Mike Tyson did it. LeBron will be on Broadway.
Before we get there, though, it's going to end with a gold medal and that documentary, which you're then going to watch and like them and tell us how cool it was on the back end.
No chance.
No.
Bogusch
All
nailed it.
all he does is flip. He already flipped on Bronny from Wednesday's show to yesterday's show.
Bogusch, we had this moment.
It's before we went 2 for 9.
We went into 4th of July going, I can't wait to watch Bronny play real minutes in an NBA game in October. And why don't you guys want to join me to? He's not good. Never mind.
He tweeted on Saturday or Sunday saying, "Why am I watching this?"
Well,
You don't want to watch
Bronny's
it.
in the ocean. That's why.
want to give the exact quote? Man, I thought he was taller.
The 6'1" didn't tip you off, considering you're 6'3".
Well, when you see 6'1" on the court and he's not a point guard, you realize something's wrong. His arms are crazy long, though.
These are all things that were not a secret.
Yeah.
Last Wednesday,
But it's
when
one
you
thing
were
to
browbeating us into watching real. I mean, you basically called us unpatriotic for not wanting to see Bronny.
The great American hope, Bronny James.
You guys don't want to. The summer hinges on this.
Okay.
You watch him in the Salt Lake City Review once, you go, I'll pass.
All right.
I'm out
Andrew
on
Bogusch.
everyone.
I will put the real test to you. I was sitting here in this studio when E.J. Stewart, our executive producer, who is out recovering with his knee,
Yeah, we get it.
said there are 2 iconic Olympic teams, the Dream Team and the Redeem Team. That's where a lot of this energy that Pilati and I are getting from rooting against, man, the Dream Team and the Redeem Team. There's nothing that makes me madder than the Redeem Team. I think that's where this energy is coming from.
You got to get on board with the Redeem Team.
The Redeem Team is the dumbest Redeem
It was
Team.
a big deal.
It was not a big deal.
It wasn't.
It was at 4 a.m, and so I don't even know where those Olympics were.
China,
Beijing.
It was
here's the
the
thing.
opposite of a big deal. It was a no deal.
The reason why it was a big deal is because the Olympics, the Team USA got embarrassed in Greece. Bronze medal,
And we were
guys.
okay.
Nobody cared.
Wait, what?
It affected no one's life. After the Dream Team did their thing, nobody cared.
I didn't think about it that way. It didn't affect anyone's life. Did
America
it?
had bandwidth for
Shoot.
one great Olympic team. They had a bandwidth for
It
the
happened in
Dream Team.
1992.
Yeah, that was it. That was fine. We're good.
Remember the countdown clocks after they lost? And
Remember
then
when Kobe
wins the
set
next
a
gold
pick
medal
on
game?
Pau Gasol? Jesus.
Just crushing on my basketball legends over there.
The redeem team.
I'm with you on the redeem team.
I get it. You guys are babies. You missed it, but you have to had been alive for the dream team. And if you were, you can't accept the redeem team.
Oh, man. Do you remember in 2016 when Anthony Davis hit that turnaround mid-range shot against Slovenia? That was exhilarating.
And thank God the redeem team paved the way for that.
Yeah.
Those guys crawled to Anthony Davis.
Without them.
I don't even know I have no idea where the 2016 Olympics were. Was that Rio?
Yeah, but the redeem team was 2008.
Well, all right.
Wrong year / decade.
There are only two moments that matter in Olympic basketball history. When Charles Barkley said that thing about when he said the really mean thing about the African team he was about to whoop.
Oh, I forgot, but yes.
That was
on
hysterical.
brand.
Yes, and then when Vince Carter jumped over Frederick Weiss.
Those are the two moments.
Yeah, we got to go out
the
there.
72 team,
That
the
got
Golden
hosed.
game. So there's 3.
And then when Jordan went in '84, that was a big deal.
Okay, so there's like
All right.
5 times. But no, the
Still no
redeem
redeem
team
team,
can't get any love. Meanwhile, Drunkle Sam back in the chat.
The great.
MVP today. He says LeBron the musical.
Totally. That's gonna be great. He's gonna need something
It's
for
opening
A
night.
kid from Northwest Ohio.
Yeah.
And he'll play himself, but no one else, like in Space Jam.
Oh, yes.
Every other
I got
Jam
it.
family member will be an actress or
Sub
an
out
actor.
the other family.
No. I got it. You know how James Gandolfini's son played Tony Soprano in the Sopranos movie? Bronny will play a young LeBron. He's going to need work in 3 years when he's out of the NBA.
He's going to be on stilts.
He's going to be on stilts. Oh, my gosh.
Recreate Spider-Man fall off the stage.
Oh, man.
Cavs have an AI LeBron musical in about 35
I
seconds.
can't wait.
Paul Giamatti is David Blatt. It's going to be amazing.
We can get Rob Lowe to be Palinka.
Yes.
There you go.
Rob Lowe is-
That casting.
Oh, my
Writes
God. It's going to be an
itself.
amazing movie. There's going to be this dramatic scene where he's like, listen, I'll take a pay cut for DeMar DeRozan and Jonas Valanciunas. And then this gigantic Eastern European guy will come out and say, no, LeBron, or something. The Jonas scene is going to be epic.
That's be right before the intermission.
Yes.
That's the curtain closer. Jonas Valanciunas tap dancing his way to Washington, D.C. Packing his bags.
That's going to be a hard one to cast because he's like 7 feet, 300 pounds. Maybe Boban comes to play Jonas.
If Boban's not in this, it'd be a tragedy. Let's get some headlines going. Oh, Bogusch, what do you have?
The headlines are sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Protect your home and auto. Save when you bundle. Get a quote at progressive.com. They came for the tennis. They stayed for the drama yesterday at Wimbledon. This is a two-parter. We'll begin with Novak Djokovic and Holger Rune. Djokovic just had knee surgery, yet is in the quarterfinals after winning their match yesterday in straight sets. So you'd think he'd be happy post-match.
And to all those people that have chosen to disrespect the player, in this case me, have a good night. Good night. Very good night.
So the good night is a reference to Rune fans chanting Rune during the match. Djokovic seems to think they're actually taking a shot at him.
I know they were cheering for Rune, but that's an excuse to also boo. Listen. I've been on the tour for more than 20 years, so trust me, I know all the tricks. I know how it works. It's fine, it's okay. I focus on the respectful people that have respect, that pay the ticket to come and watch tonight, and love tennis, and appreciate the players and the effort that the players put in here.
If you didn't know already, Djokovic sucks. Now,
What a baby.
I didn't watch.
Get lost.
I was watching the match here without sound, so I don't
Boo
know
this
if the
guy.
Rune were like ill-timed at the wrong parts of the match while he was like serving or something, but he sucks.
Well, first I thought he was joking around. I'm like,
no.
This is hilarious. He's leaning into it. How funny. And then it's like, oh, no, he's actually offended. I feel like somewhere Carlos Boozer is like, wait, what?
Boo. They're saying boo.
Burns? I would say Boo Earns.
They're saying boo Earns, exactly.
Yeah, but somewhere Carlos Boozer, who always got boos, it's wait a minute, you guys were booing me? He's getting a little sensitive here.
Well, he's doing this thing now, and I apologize. He's been doing it for a while. Have you seen the violin celebration So his last 2 matches, at the end of the match, he puts his tennis racket on his shoulder and pretends he's playing the violin. So it looks like
the world's smallest, you mean?
Or it's kind of like, the match is over, play the music. This guy is dead. But that's what everyone thinks. My wife called me about it yesterday. She said, what is the Djokovic violin thing? And I looked it up. His daughter just started taking violin lessons, and it's an homage to her.
Oh, that's
No,
nice.
I think that's just a play
Cover?
on.
No.
That's just a play on. No, I know all the tricks. I've been on the tour for 20 years.
It's
Manny knows the tricks.
Get out of here, you loser.
It's the most humiliating thing to do. Like, you win the match, then you play the violin, and like, oh, play the music, he's out the door. It is obnoxious. That dude is super obnoxious. For some people, it works. People hate Djokovic. I've watched a couple matches because I'm curious how he responds to the injury. He gets booed consistently.
Well, I mean, he kind of has this love-hate relationship with the crowd.
Yes.
And he likes it. I think some guys get off on this kind of thing, and I think
Totally.
he courts it a little bit too. He likes being the agitator. And he was always the anti-Federer, right?
And
like
Nadal.
was loved.
He was
Nadal's-
always good versus evil, and he was always evil in this little
Well, the funny thing
trio.
is, can he? He is coming off. When did he have knee surgery? So there's
month
no
ago.
There's no way he's going to win this tournament because he's 37 years old, coming off knee surgery. It's amazing he's still around.
But
for
he's in the
fourth round.
quarters, and
Yeah.
I don't know if he's dropped a set yet. I mean, he's been ridiculous on
No,
1.5 legs.
No, he definitely he's dropped a set. He had to come back against Popperin. Names in the tennis
Jeez, you
bracket.
really do need a hobby.
Yeah, no, I'm dialed in on this Wimbledon. Believe it or not, I have no idea why. Because it was too hot. You were off enjoying yourself in Cape Cod this weekend, where it was nice and cool. It was 1,000 degrees in my house, and I just got stuck watching tennis.
Would you like to be an athlete whose last name is the ooh?
Oh yeah. Baseball announcers love saying. Now they're saying like whatever boozer.
Yeah. Michael Cooper got you to that?
Mike Messina. Got Moose.
Yep.
Moo.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I think it'd be cool.
I think that'd be fun.
Because
too.
you're kind of boo-proof. Nobody can boo you because they're saying
You're
your name.
boo-proof. Yeah, when they really hate you, they actually just throw a bottle at your head.
Or if you have like a nickname like the dog, or like where they bark, ooh, ooh, ooh.
Yeah. Like the Browns,
Yeah,
little dog pound.
that's right. So they're not booing you; they're just barking.
Let's do some baseball. The Atlanta Braves outlasted the Diamondbacks
always-
in 11 innings last night, 5-4. The deciding run, courtesy of a sac fly. The real excitement was in the top of the ninth.
Down to their final out. And a 1-1 pitch on the way to Murphy. And a fly ball, deep right center field. Heading back to the wall. Here comes some smoke. We got a tie ball game. A home run by Murphy. That's out there in the swimming pool. And it's 3 apiece in the ninth.
Sean Murphy forcing those extra innings with that 2-run homer, as heard on Braves radio. The Twins also won in 11, 8-6 over the White Sox in Chicago. Minnesota has won all 8 of their meetings this season. And Steelers corner Cameron Sutton gets an 8-game ban for violating the league's personal conduct policy. He's currently in a pretrial diversion program to settle a domestic violence case. Sutton hid from police for weeks after an arrest warrant was issued in early March. The Lions released him along the way, but the Steelers signed him. Sutton played his first 6 seasons for them. Guys, back to you.
Bogusch, thank you so much. All right, coming up, top of the hour, we do have the Maggie and Perloff sitcom bracket. The Seinfeld region gets released today. We're going region by region. So if you guys want to get mad at us, you're going to have an opportunity to do so very, very soon. Manny pointing. Also, you're going to get to vote on who advances past the round of 16 in this case. Coming up next, an NBA star, feels disrespected. Why? We'll tell you next. Maggie and Perloff.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 4 minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Going on today. We are previewing the entire NFC West throughout the show. Already have talked about the San Francisco 49ers. I believe they're less likely to go back to the Super Bowl than they are likely to win it. I'm just playing the odds there. But again, a lot of reasons why the scar tissue may have built up too much here with San Francisco. The roster looks great, but you're going to lose 2 Super Bowls and 3 NFC championships, 2 NFC championships in 5 years. It just all starts to take its toll. 855-212-4227. And we're going to continue to preview the NFC West throughout the show. We also have our sitcom bracket, which we're going to reveal 1/4 of that at the top of the hour. We should get to Paul George, though, Perloff, who, because he has this famous podcast, along with being the newest member of the Philadelphia 76ers, really got honest, at least his point of view, on what happened with his contract negotiation and how he even ended up in Philly. He says he wanted to stay with the Clippers.
Just to put it out there, like, I never wanted to leave L.A., right? Initially, I was not trying to leave L.A. L.A. is home. This is where I wanted to finish at. I wanted to work as hard as possible to win one in L.A. Like, that was the goal, to be here and be committed to L.A.
Okay, well, 5 years never happened. Paul George also says on the podcast P, the Clippers offer, though, was disrespectful.
As it played out, though, like, the first initial deal was, I thought, kind of disrespectful, right? And again, in all of this, no hard feelings, no love lost, no, like, it's a business.
Yeah, I think there was a little love lost, though. So the initial offer was going to be 2 years and $60 million, although we're not sure if that was on top of the opting into the $50 million that he already had sitting on the table for him. So instead, they sort of went back and forth, Paul George and the Clippers, for the entire season, October all the way to July. And he finally said, just give me the Kawhi deal, which is 3 years, $150 million. And he wanted a no trade clause along with that 3 years, $150. And the Clippers said no. So it was all this back and forth throughout the season. But you have to really ask the question, Perloff, how badly do the Clippers actually want Paul George back? Because 2 years, 60, while I don't think that's insulting, in their world, that is insulting. Maybe we need a new word for that. I don't know if it's insulting. It's a low ball offer, I guess. And I just don't know why it would have taken so long for them to just get to, hey, give me exactly what the other guy got, who I've been playing next to for 5 years.
Well, it's funny. I understand logically the decision to move on for Paul George because he's 34, purely about age and injury history. But I do not understand for the life of me what the LA Clippers think their future is. The NBA creates this whole economic system to limit Steve Ballmer from buying a championship. And what he's bought actually is a team that much closer to tanking than winning a championship. Like, what's their future? I mean, they're in 2 years, they'll probably be one of the worst teams in the league because they just signed Harden back. Yeah. That's a bad move. And Kawhi Leonard is 32. There's no way he could keep this up. He's not even healthy. So who's on that roster when this is all said and done in 3 years? Who's a Clipper?
I have no idea. I don't know how they run things because also it's like, did you actually want to back or not? Because, to be honest, this hasn't been that fruitful. Like, they've won games, but they haven't won playoff series. Not nearly enough. And whether that was for injury or whether it's just because they got smoked by the Mavericks this year.
That was...
And also injury.
Yeah, because injury. I think Kawhi really wasn't himself the whole second half of the season. Yeah, I just don't think they have any future at all. So why they would lowball Paul George? Because I don't know what your other options are. I'm not a gigantic James Harden fan.
Right.
So it was 2 years, $70 million they brought him back. That's not going to kill you necessarily. At least they get out in 2 years. But I see this as one of the bottom 10 bleakest futures in the NBA. And tell me a way out. I don't see where they're going. They might as well have offered Paul George because there's nothing else left.
Yeah, I guess, it gets more punitive as you spend more and more money, that whole second apron that you've probably heard quite a bit about. And I guess this keeps them from hitting that. But you're right. I don't know. The other part, too, is they're trying to move into a new building.
Yes.
So they want, like, all this star power. I'm like, the people who are, honestly, when Kawhi's healthy, he's great to watch. But is James Harden still packing the arenas?
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like everyone is a little down on James Harden like I am. Of course he's a brilliant player, but he's not young either. He's 34. So at the end of this deal, he's going to be 37. You're right. Who's coming to see this Clippers team play? I mean, I know they have a record number of bathrooms, so I'm fascinated. And that sounds like a great plan to me.
Think about that. The coolest thing about the arena is just how many bathrooms it has. Like, you're known as the toilet bowl. That is what they're going to call this thing.
I love it. They are when you think about it, they should be a prime candidate for fully tanking, like full tank. They should just go process, but they never will.
Well, I mean, I don't know if Steve Ballmer will allow that to happen because they have this little brother, complex because of the Lakers.
But that's going to be a huge problem for them because how do you build a champion then?
I don't know. Here's another part. I think there's still just sort of this hangover a little bit with the Clippers that, and sometimes this happens to teams. They moved heaven and earth for Paul George. That might have been another reason just to sign him. You already gave away players and what was it, 5 first round picks?
And sadly, Shai Gilgeous was part of that.
Exactly. Yeah. And I just don't know if you recover from something like that. A guy who finished second in MVP voting who you gave away to get Paul George, and now Paul George isn't even there.
Well, sunk cost. I mean, there's nothing they can do about that now. So the question is, this offseason, what was the smart thing to do? And I'm not sure they did it.
Coming up, we do reveal the first region of the Maggie and Perloff Sitcom Bracket, the Jackie Childs Seinfeld region, comes your way next. Who made the cut? You'll hear it.
You're in a 5-minute break.
Young boy had dreams of gold and glory. Watching the Olympics, oh the joy, inspiring every story. Oh, the red, white, and blue, proudly I'll wear for you. In the Olympics, dreams come true. For Team USA, I'll always stay true. From Beijing to London skies, Rio sun and Tokyo nights, I've played with heart, I've reached new highs. For the gold, I'll fight the fights. In every game, in every land, with my brothers, hand in hand. For the fans and for the cheer, Olympic dreams year after year. Oh, the red, white, and blue, proudly I'll wear for you. In the Olympics, dreams come true. For Team USA, I'll always stay true. From Beijing to London skies, Rio sun and Tokyo nights, I've played with heart, I've reached new highs. For the gold, I'll fight the fights. In every game, in every land, with my brothers, hand in hand. For the fans and for the cheer, Olympic dreams year after year. So here I am, my heart ablaze. For the love of the game I raise the torch of hope, of pride, of dreams. For Team USA, forever it gleams. So here I am, my heart ablaze. For the love of the game I raise the torch of hope, of pride, of dreams. For Team USA, forever it gleams. So here I am, my heart ablaze. For the love of the game I raise the torch of hope, of pride, of dreams. For Team USA.
1 minute, 30 seconds remaining.
It's not easy to kill a tortoise. That's the other problem.
She'll figure it out.
Trust me, I fantasize a lot about this. How are you going to kill it? You have to drown it, right?
Oh my God.
Drown a tortoise? Isn't it
It's amphibious. Google, how do I kill a tortoise?
I was thinking, I live on the 8th floor. If I dropped him out the window with the shell crack and he died, because I can't.
What is wrong with your family? Inhumane. Don't
because
do
the
that.
worst torture would be to put him out on the streets. That would be
disagree.
awful.
How about Central Park? There's parks in New York City. I know people think it's just asphalt.
He would die a terrible death in Central Park.
Dropping him from a building?
Yes, that's much better. He died like that.
You don't know that.
Maybe.
No, he would have how would he eat in Central Park?
He'd be scared before. He'd probably be scared when you're putting him out the window. Say, all right, goodbye. Like, you want to put him through that torture?
Don't do that.
You let him die over the course of 2 months in a foreign environment over Central Park? It would be terrible.
Perloff, tourists are going to feed him like hot dog bits and stuff.
Trust me, my sister's right. You got to kill him on the spot. That is the humane way to do it.
Trust my murderous
It's by
sister.
far the humane way to do
necks
it.
is always better.
You want to let a chicken wander the streets of Framingham trying to find kernels of corn somewhere?
How many missing husbands is your
Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Well, the show, plenty of NFL to get to as we're breaking down the NFC West throughout the show, Perloff, but we are embarking on a journey here that you seem actually kind of nervous about.
I think we are putting our neck out there with this. I think there's going to be a lot of criticism from people we know fairly well. I've already gotten some of it, and the bracket's not even out. I've had friends email me, text me saying, this is ridiculous. This can't be. I'm like,
we haven't done it yet.
I know. Can you imagine when the full 64 is out? Yeah, I think my friends are overly emotional about television is what I'm learning here.
Okay, so there are the context clues. 64,
yeah, it's gonna be cool.
Over emotional about television. We are embarking on our quest to find the greatest sitcom of all time, and we need your help. Because we put together, and by we, I mean me, Perloff, and EJ, put together a bracket of 64 shows. Now, we really tried to get a wide swath of American television. We basically kept it, I think it's all American shows in there. I don't think we did any British shows.
No,
did we? Anyway,
okay.
We tried to really get a wide swath here of eras, of genres, but they all had to be sitcoms, right? So we had to make some really hard decisions, and there were some shows that were cut here that were very painful. However, we are going to do this. We're going to start with the Seinfeld region. We told you yesterday, Seinfeld, one of the top 4 overall seeds. Seinfeld, The Simpsons, Cheers, and MASH. Those are the top 4 seeds. And today we do the Seinfeld region. So without further ado, and by the way, if you want to vote on these shows that are going to go head-to-head, all you have to do is just go to our account on X, which is at Maggie and Pearl, and you can find everything there. Perloff and I will retweet it from our main accounts as well. Okay, so let's get started. Of course, starts with Seinfeld, which is the number 1 seed. We went through this yesterday. All of the incredible accolades of Seinfeld, the 9 seasons, 180 episodes, the 68 Emmy noms, the 10 wins, 15 Golden Globe nominations, 3 wins, and Jerry Seinfeld, a billionaire in syndication. That goes up against the 16 seed, a little show you may have heard of called Living Single.
Oh, we'll be in the bathtub.
Overton, get out!
I am so sorry, Khadijah, I swear. I didn't see anything, nothing.
Is everybody all right? What happened?
I just saw Khadijah naked. I'm devastated.
Man, listen to that laugh track. You're about to hear some laugh. They don't do laugh tracks like they did in the 90s anymore.
Living Single, 5 seasons, ran from 1993 to 1998. Really a precursor to Friends. It was about 6 people living in a brownstone in Brooklyn. Queen Latifah, Kim Coles, Kim Fields, Erica Alexander. I mean, we're talking about some real heavyweights of TV and movies. Kim Coles, of course, was on The Living Color. Kim Fields was in Good Times, Different Strokes, Facts of Life. Erica Alexander was in The Cosby Show. She was just recently in the movie American Fiction. Living Single is a 16 seed in this region going up against Seinfeld. Let's move on to the 8th seed in this region. It is the King of Queens.
Do you understand at all that you almost got me canned? You know, it's bad enough that you trounce all over my home. Do you have to trounce on my job, too? That's too much trouncing.
Oh, you think this living arrangement is easy for me? You think I like walking around here on eggshells?
Eggshells? Is that what we've been getting here for the past year? You on eggshells? Well, thank you for holding back.
All right, there you go. So Kevin James, and you heard Jerry Stiller, who was Frank Costanza in Seinfeld, who's also the father here. You got the Honeymooners vibe, Perloff, King of Queens, 9 seasons, 207 episodes. Leah Remini also stars in that show. And the King of Queens is an 8 seed, goes up against the 9-seeded The Munsters.
Herman, you're magnificent. You look so glamorous. Pop, you're a gas.
Please, fans, no autographs.
The method actor?
One must dig deep to come up with the right character.
You're telling me? That's how I found my first 10 wives.
Okay, so there you go. With the Munsters, higher ratings than the Addams Family, which is why we picked the Munsters here. And the two did go head-to-head with the Addams Family on CBS. Munsters on CBS, Addams Family on ABC. Don't quote me on that. 1964 to 66. Only 70 episodes, Perloff, but obviously Fred Gwynne. Yeah. And these were the classic monsters of Universal Studios.
And I think we give the Munsters a little bit of a boost because Fred Gwynne was awesome in My Cousin Vinny.
Very good as the
judge. I think hearing that voice, I'll be, there's the judge for My Cousin Vinny. Also, the Dracula grandfather, like that guy floated around like the Howard Stern universe for a little while. You guys have ever seen him? He became a fixture. Yep. I don't know. He's probably still around right now, probably 103 like the real vampire. Good show. I'm curious about this battle. I don't think King of Queens is for everybody.
Well, you're going to have to go to at Maggie and Pearl on X and vote. That's the 8-9 game. We move on in the Seinfeld region, the best sitcoms of all time. The 5th seed in this region is That 70s Show.
So these are some other girls' panties?
Whoa. No offense, Donna, but dude, you're on fire! Donna, look, you have to believe me. I have no idea whose panties those are.
Donna, those panties are mine.
All right, there you go. Launched so many careers over their 8 years, 200 episodes. Launched Topher Grace, launched Ashton Kutcher, launched Mila Kunis, Danny Masterson, who's now in jail right now, Laura Prepon, who ended up doing Orange is the New Black, Wilder Valderrama, still on TV. Tommy Chong was in that show as a guest. Deborah Jo Rupp, who also had a turn on Friends, played the mother. So there you go.
Oh, right.
That is That 70s Show. The 5th seed in this region goes up against the 12th seed, Saved by the Bell.
There she is. Hey, you know Joanna? Yeah, I know Joanna. She's the girl I've been telling you about. No. She's the girl I've been telling you about. Hey, Slater, you asked Joanna to the senior party yet? No. Joanna, would you like to go to the senior kickoff party with me?
Zach and AC Slater, Mark Paul Gosselaar, Tiffany Amber Thiessen, Mario Lopez, who's had this huge TV career now, Elizabeth Berkley, of course, Dustin Diamond no longer with us, Lark Voorhees. This was only 4 seasons and 86 episodes of Saved by the Bell. We're talking about the Saturday morning, basically the Saturday morning show. This originally did launch in primetime under a different name called Good Morning Miss Bliss.
Okay, I thought Saved by the Bell was awesome. Met Mr. Belding many times. Doesn't belong here.
What do you mean it doesn't belong here?
Doesn't belong here.
It's a sitcom. You heard the laugh track.
You just said morning.
It's
a kid show.
We cut a wide variety of things here.
All right. Well, the voters will decide. You could go to our Twitter feed and figure this out because I don't think it belongs in the same conversation with Cheers.
All right. We continue on the Seinfeld region, trying to find the greatest sitcom of all time. The 4th seed in this region, a heavyweight, it's the Brady Bunch.
Alice, the washing machine's gone crazy! Mrs. Brady, the Suds are calling you. Bobby? Yeah, me! Oh, Bobby. Here he is. Where are you? Here he is. Oh, what in the world happened? Are you all right?
I think so.
What were you doing?
Washing my clothes.
You're supposed to take your clothes off before you wash them. Bobby.
There you go. 5 seasons, 117 episodes. Funny about this show, the iconic opening with the heads in the boxes and stuff, but wasn't like as popular as people remember in the first run. It really has been syndication that really boosted the Brady Bunch. I saw this online. I couldn't fact check it, but since the show first aired in syndication in 1975, an episode of the Brady Bunch has been shown either in this country or abroad every single day of the year since 1975.
I'm curious, too. This also feels kind of like a kid show, right? Like, did adults ever would you sit and watch an episode of the Brady Bunch now?
Well, no.
Yeah, because we're not. So I think that's an interesting thing about this bracket. Is it for 12-year-olds or for older people? So Brady Bunch is cute, but it's not witty, right? Like it's like that clip we just heard.
Sure.
But it is certainly iconic in a huge, huge way. Everyone knows the Brady Bunch.
It is the 4th seed in this region, goes up against the 13th seed. That'd be Sanford and Son.
Listen, Esther, now you know good and well the day I married your sister, I was loaded. Yeah, you was loaded all right. You were so drunk you fell on the preacher. But I had to get drunk to look at your ugly family. Listen, for years people going around saying, black is beautiful. They took one look at your family and said, hold everything.
So that's Red Fox, obviously. Yes.
This has upset potential.
I think so. His real name was John Sanford, Red Fox, obviously. Sanford and Son. This was
Red Fox's real name was John Sanford?
Yes, 6
I had no
seasons. Ran from 1972 to 77. It was actually adopted from a British sitcom by Norman Lear for this country. Quincy Jones composed the theme song, and this was sort of the counter to Archie Bunker sort of thing. It was the Red Fox was kind of playing an Archie Bunker type, and that was sort of the premise behind Sanford and Son. That was the funniest clip we've played.
Also, Gary Shandling wrote for Sanford and Son. Interesting fact that many people might know. I thought you'd appreciate that.
That's why it's good.
Here we go. Okay, we move on to Maggie and Perloff. We're trying to find the greatest sitcom ever. So this is the Seinfeld region we're revealing today. The 6th seed in this region is 30 Rock.
Wanted to see me?
No, Lemon.
I did. Albino Ninja. Look, I never should have interfered with whatever this is. Work husband / uncle.
Co-worker / little brother.
Right. Well, she's not ready to move on. It's true. I'm wearing a Dwayne Reed bag as underwear today.
7 seasons, 139 episodes. Tina Fey, Tracy Morgan, Jane Krakowski, Alec Baldwin, who you heard there, nominated for over 103 awards, won 16 primetime Emmys. 30 Rock goes up against the 11 seed, The Bernie Mac Show.
Okay, they got baby girl all upset.
Thank you, Uncle Bernie.
You're welcome.
Now I know why you spend an extra day on the road instead of coming straight home.
What? What? Tell you something, baby girl. If these white folk wasn't here, I'll break you off a little something. I'm not kidding with you. Listen, America, I got the boy on track. Now I have to teach that girl to keep her damn mouth shut.
That interesting. So that's like you hear what Bernie Mac did, which kind of revolutionary, is he would turn to the camera, break the fourth wall, and talk to the viewer and call us America, whoever was watching. Obviously, with Bernie Mac, 5 seasons, 104 episodes. This was created by Larry Wilmore, if you know him, as he became a big correspondent on The Daily Show during that. Won an Emmy, won a Peabody Award as well. So like for higher artistic sort of recognition. So there you go.
So wait, have you guys ever seen, this is basically the King of Comedy, the movie.
Yeah.
This is a sitcom based on that bit.
Basically based on the bit that Bernie Mac has to take in his sister's kids because she goes to rehab or she can't handle the kids.
Greatest on Bernie Mac in that movie, the 10 minutes where he is cooking is the most unbelievable stand-up. I've heard people talk about Bernie Mac. He's a stand-up. Unbelievable. Just killed it. I do. You know, it's funny. When we were talking about the show, I didn't remember. I have seen several episodes. This show is legit hysterical.
It is. And so that's the 6 seed 30 Rock going up against the 11 seed Bernie Mac show. We continue. The 3rd seed in this bracket is we're finding the greatest sitcom of all time. Manny's wearing the t-shirt today. It is the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Yo, what's up?
Carlton, what the hell are you wearing?
Yo, this?
Carlton, you look like a pirate.
Yo, stop front. You know this gear's chill.
Why are you talking like that?
Yo, how you playing me, Prince?
What?
Yo, you dissing me. Come on, man, stop it.
So you have Will Smith there with Alfonso Ribeiro, who played Carlton. 6 seasons, 148 episodes. Quincy Jones also wrote a lot of this show, along with Benny Medina, who's a famous TV movie music executive. You had James Avery as Uncle Phil, the two Aunt Vivs.
Yeah.
So many. Jeffrey, the butler is so incredible.
My favorite.
This show, and actually was inspired by the real life of Benny Medina, who grew up poor in L.A. and was kind of adopted by this rich family. They decided to turn it into obviously an all-black cast and put the family aspect to it, and it took off.
This show will have a good run in this bracket.
It's a 3rd seed. This is a strong 3 seed.
It's a very good show.
No doubt. It goes up against a 14 seed, Schitt's Creek.
Putting your name on a line of edible nail polish isn't what I would call having a job.
I was very hands-on, David. I came up with all of the flavors by myself.
Even the one that poisoned all those people?
David, the factory in Guangzhou assured us that it was lead-free. Ugh.
There you go. This is Dan Levy, Eugene Levy, Catherine O'Hara. Eugene Levy and Catherine O'Hara together is just magical. 6 seasons, 80 episodes. Originally aired in Canada. Perloff then got a second run on Netflix during the pandemic. Got really popular. 19 Emmy nominations and 2 wins. Should have mentioned the Fresh Prince basically won everything under the sun in terms of awards also. There we go.
People love Schitt's Creek.
I know they do.
Yeah, it's a what do you call it? I don't know if it's cult, but people who like Schitt's Creek love Schitt's Creek.
It's true. We move on the Maggie and Perloff sitcom bracket. The 7th seed in the Seinfeld region is How I Met Your Mother.
I don't want you getting back with Jeanette. Ted, what is my one rule? You can tell how old a girl is by her elbows. My other one rule. Always have a fake pair of concert tickets in your pocket in case Lily invites you to something stupid. My other one rule. Lebanese girls sprint to third base and then stay there. My other one rule. New is always better. New is always better. Exactly.
There you go. 9 seasons, 208 episodes, 91 nominations, 21 wins. I mean, this was a commercial hit and a critical success with Jason Segel in this show and Allison Hannigan and Neil Patrick Harris and Colby Smulders and Bob Saget as the narrator who goes uncredited in this entire show.
That's Bob Saget as a narrator? Never knew that.
Yeah, it is. There you go. So How I Met Your Mother, that is a 7 seed going up against a 10 seed, Bewitched.
Mary's in a great mood tonight. Sam? How did that happen? Could somebody be trying to spoil our anniversary like your mother?
Oh, no, darling, I don't think so. If Mother wanted to spoil the party, it would be raining in the living room.
This show hit like gangbusters. So this was on TV for 8 seasons, Perloff, 254 episodes of Bewitched, and it was shot out of a cannon. It became one of the highest rated shows in its first season and basically stayed there for a long, long time. This was a more high rated show than I Dream of Jeannie. And obviously the premise is a witch wanting to be a housewife and sort of hiding in plain sight.
All right, so explain to me why they swapped the husbands then, Maggie.
I don't know. So that's a 7 seed How I Met Your Mother goes up against 10 seeded Bewitched.
Hot take, Pete.
The final matchup in this region, the Seinfeld region, as we were trying to get to the bottom of the greatest sitcom of all time. The 2 seed, very strong. It's I Love Lucy.
I don't know what's the matter with you. Every month, every single month, your bank account is overdrawn. Now, what is the reason?
You don't give me enough money?
I don't give you enough money.
Well, we both agree that must be the reason.
This was the most watched TV show in America for the 4 out of 6 seasons that it ran. Lucille Ball, obviously her real-life husband, Desi Arnaz, ended its run at the top of the Nielsen rating. 6 seasons, 180 episodes, and obviously the Fred and Ethel Mertz character with Vivian Vance and William Frawley as well. One of the all-time greats.
Obviously.
And then they go up against the 15 seed in this region, the Beverly Hillbillies.
Maybe we's rushing things. Maybe Sonny ain't ready to get married.
Jed, no man is ready to get married. You gotta get him ready. Like you get a steer ready for slaughter.
This show stinks.
I've never seen an episode of this
Do
show.
not like this show.
By the way, talking about a show that you couldn't tell the jokes today, Beverly Hillbillies might be if we did a bracket of shows that you couldn't say the jokes, they went for the lowest common denominator on every single joke.
They would be the 1 seed.
9 seasons, 274 episodes, a lot.
Basically,
about the Clampetts.
The entire joke, the whole series is about, instead of the pool, they wanted to swim in the pond. That's the essence of Beverly Hillbillies. But they made movies out of it. They were pretty funny.
Ellie Mae, I mean, these are Jed Clampett. These are some iconic characters. So, Granny, I guess. So there you go. That is the first region. We have 4 regions. This is NCAA tournament style. So this is the Seinfeld region. Seinfeld against Living Single, King of Queens against The Munsters, That 70s Show against Saved by the Bell, Brady Bunch against Sanford and Son, 30 Rock against The Bernie Mac Show, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air against Schitt's Creek, How I Met Your Mother against Bewitched, and I Love Lucy against the Beverly Hillbillies. You can go to our Twitter handle at Maggie and Pearl and you can vote.
I would say Seinfeld is a betting favorite with Fresh Prince as we're looking at a very big Elite Eight match possibly here.
Do you think that I Love Lucy gets through?
It's hard for me to comment on I Love Lucy because I've never really seen much of it.
It better get through at least the first round.
It's got to beat the Beverly Hillbillies.
The worst show. I hate that show.
I've seen probably 30 episodes of Beverly Hillbillies. I've never really seen much I Love Lucy. But Beverly Hillbillies was cute. It was fine, right?
Against I Love Lucy and Fresh Prince of Bel-Air meeting in the meeting in the round of 32, I guess here would be crazy.
Ooh, I think How I Met Your Mother has a good shot. That is a very popular show, big cult following.
That's true.
That's a strong 7 seed.
There you go. So that's just the very first region. We're going to do one every day this week, and you can actually go to at Maggie and Pearl on X if you want to see the full bracket, and you can vote on the polls there. Thank you, Manny. 855-212-4227. Now, with all that, Pete has been a conscientious objector to this bracket almost from the beginning. Did you have any major issues besides the Beverly Hillbillies with anyone else in this region? What do you think about Saved by the Bell?
I don't mind it being there.
Me neither. Perloff has a major issue.
This is a format question.
I think there's 2 shows, the bottom 2 shows in this region I probably would have did without.
Living Single and the Beverly Hillbillies.
Yeah, compared to some that have been left off. I'm not going to get into what's been left off. We wait till after everything's been revealed to go into the bit bracket, but that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, the bit. Bilotti Invitational Tournament. Okay, 855-212-4227. You are welcome to weigh in on the greatest sitcom of all time. All right, coming up, we get back to sports. We've got some Cowboys news for you. No. Don't move.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 2 minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
All right, the Defensive Player of the Week is sponsored by the Navy Federal Credit Union, who proudly serves the Armed Forces, DoD veterans, and their families. Their members are the mission. Learn more at NavyFederal.org. Ooh, tough one this week. Defensive Player of the Week, I'm going to go with Ellie De La Cruz, because it's fun to say. Maggie, who do you got?
They should hand you Paul O'Neill's job. Oh, gosh.
Actually,
Boston Red Sox pitcher who shut out the Yankees?
No.
Pitchers aren't defensive players.
Well, you know what I mean.
Cruz. Very specifically, pitchers win a Gold Glove depending on how good a fielder they are. So I don't think pitching is defensive. I think that's an important distinction that we have to stick to, Maggie.
I don't have any other options.
I like Ellie De La Cruz because when he throws it, it looks like a missile coming out of his arm.
That's true.
But all right, is there another sport that we could have, or what else is going on?
No, you're in the same. You're in the right area.
Right part of the country?
Right.
NL
sport.
Central? Okay, just right sport.
Right sport. Oh man, this is tough. There are a lot of good fielders.
All right. Well, I'll give since I don't think you're going to get it. Matt Olson last night.
Oh yeah.
In Arizona with a sliding catch behind first base. Diamondbacks were up 3-1 in the bottom of the sixth when this happened, and the Braves came back to win in extra innings 5-4.
Right.
Shattering.
And did they tie it up in the bottom of the ninth, too? Did Bogusch tell us that?
Yeah. I believe
Or
so,
top of
right?
the ninth?
Yes.
Amazing.
Yeah, because I
Let's go
mean,
Braves.
when I think great defensive players in Major League Baseball, Matt Olson jumps to my mind.
Hey, it was a great play.
Hasn't had a great year, though.
That's true. 855-212-4227
Dude's a first baseman.
Is how you can get in touch with the
Pete
show.
Alonso.
We just revealed our sitcom bracket. Brandon is in Pennsylvania, has a thought. Now, this was just the first of 4. We're going to be revealing a new region every day. Good morning, Brandon.
How are you?
Great. What's up?
I'm infuriated. You've done one day. I'm already infuriated.
Oh, no. What got you mad?
Look, number one, 3 things. Number one, a sitcom bracket without Three's Company? Are you kidding me? What are we doing?
Yeah.
Number one.
But
sorry,
Three's
Jack
Company
Tripper,
did get
Larry,
snubbed.
Daliopoulos, the Regal Beagle? Hello. What are we doing? Number one. Number 2, Stay by the Bell. Not a sitcom. What
Thank
are
you.
we doing?
Mm-hmm.
And number 3, Perloff, you're a Philly guy. It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
No,
It's not a one seat.
Brandon.
It's the longest running live action sitcom on television.
Oh, that would have been a tough sell. Listen, if I had my druthers and wasn't thinking about the whole world at large, this is a bracket for everybody, not just me. Of course, Sonny would be a 1 seed.
It was going to be a 1 seed. It's a great show. It's not a 1 seed. It's not more than Cheers.
Are you kidding me? Go back and watch the two from start to finish. You tell me which one's funnier. It's no contest.
Cheers.
Well, of
No,
course.
it's not Cheers.
Of course, It's Always Sunny is going to hold up a little bit better than MASH, It's
Brandon.
like the Korean
And
War's over.
MASH
We just
was
found
on a
out
couple
yesterday it was the
seasons.
Korean War.
It's a melodrama. They're crying. Like, Alan Alda's behind the camera. Like, what are we doing?
Listen, Brandon, if you want to sit down and get a milk steak and argue about Sonny, I am all with you, dude.
Thank you so much.
My wife
It needs to be acknowledged.
Just a glimpse into my life.
Thank you, Brandon. Great call.
Before the kids came out, my wife would go upstay's to bed, and she's
Before
like,
they came out?
Came out? Like
Before
our
your
body?
wife?
Yeah, I was like, before that movie came out. Yeah, before they popped. That came out weird.
So did they.
Anyway,
Yeah.
she'd be like, what are you cackling at downstairs? I'm like, I'm watching It's Always Sunny, and I watch the same episodes over and over again and just laugh. Nothing makes me laugh harder. It's my number one show. That and Simpsons are one, but you can't. This isn't about just us. Like you, Maggie, you probably have your favorite show. That doesn't mean it's a 1 seed. Like you can't just say your favorite show is bigger than Cheers or MASH or whatever.
Okay, so Always Sunny is in this bracket. It was not in this region, but spoiler, it is in this bracket. It did make it into the 64. I will stand by Saved by the Bell as being a sitcom because take away that it was on a Saturday morning show. Is it a 3-camera show with a live studio audience with the same people who go to the same places? It's a situational comedy about kids in high school. Whether you thought it was funny or not, that's just a matter of taste. But it does check every box of what a sitcom is.
But it was written for, I think okay, that's all true, but it was written for kids.
Well, so was the Brady Bunch, most likely.
Yeah, and that doesn't belong as a number 4 seed either. I think that's going to get destroyed here.
I think that Saved by the Bell, by the definition of what's a sitcom, you could say Fresh Prince was built for kids.
I don't think Fresh Prince is nearly as funny as some of these other shows. My opinion.
You're wild about that. But like it is a sitcom.
I think Fresh Prince was written for a younger audience, like teenagers.
Younger audience, but not. Saved by the Bell is for teens. Fresh Prince wasn't. It's
actually no, but
skewed
you're
that
not
way.
17 and watching Saved by the Bell. I think you're 10, 12.
No,
I think
you're 13, 14, 15.
Right. I think the age, the target audiences are different for all these shows.
But they're still sitcoms. So like you don't think the Munsters, that wasn't for kids? Like it's
that doesn't belong here either. That
well, then nothing would belong here.
I would go like with the
narrow
witty
definition.
old people shows.
Saved by the Bell should not be in this bracket for just quality. And I love the show. It's not one of the top 64 sitcoms of all time.
But the quality was designed for its audience. Like it was high quality for a 12-year-old.
It's like watching the NFL, like the Nickelodeon version. Like that's not for adults, but for kids, that's a really high quality presentation, production. I think that Saved by the Bell, and look at all the careers it launched. I mean, Tiffany Amber Thiessen, Mark Paul Gosselaar, Mario Lopez. These are big
seriously,
stars.
like you can't sit down and watch an Academy Awards without seeing one of them go up to stage. What are you talking about? Look at all the careers they launched.
Especially Elizabeth Berkley walking up there for Showgirls.
What are any of them doing right now? What have any of them done except for Mario Lopez hosting the show? What's another thing that any of them have been
I
in?
think Tiffany Amber Thiessen
She was in 90210.
and then she was in Suits. And that's it.
She was in Suits?
For a little bit, yeah. Mark Paul Gosselaar's been on some random shows. I think he was either a hostage or like was keeping somebody in his basement recently, like on NBC. It didn't really launch careers. That's a stretch.
Look at all the careers.
Showgirls.
Yeah, how long ago was that?
1996, I think.
Okay.
Oh, no, I love Show. How about Dennis Haskins, his career, Mr. Belding? That guy has lived off that role. And
Answers DMs. That was one of my favorite things of all time.
He's so nice. I met him a couple times, and he was very funny on that show. That was the guy who kept the adults sort of tuned into it a little bit.
Well, I don't think adults should be watching this show. You'd probably get wildly annoyed by it. But
right, that's why I think like you have to understand this bracket is going to be all inclusive, right?
well, that's why we wanted a wide swath. So
That's
I think
why I
Saved by the
accepted
Bell's
it.
there, and it's not a top seed; it's a 12 seed. You know, it's going up against the 5th seed, That 70s Show, which is a legit sitcom, you would say.
And that's going to be a blowout.
I don't know if it's going to be
70 Show has my vote already, officially.
Well, your vote. But
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be that much of a blowout. I
How
think
good
there's others in this bracket that I don't like.
What's in this particular bracket?
Yes.
Like what?
This region or this bracket?
This
Yeah.
region.
Yeah, you don't like the Beverly Hillbillies.
And I like living single. I think there's better shows.
But those are our 2 lowest seeds, Pete, to be fair.
I think if you went to the lower seeds of go beyond 64, I don't think they should be there.
Yeah, and Saved by the Bell is seated higher than Schitt's Creek, right? That's I would raise my hand in objection with the committee for that.
I would object to that too.
Slightly. Let's get to some headlines, and we'll get back to your phone calls on just the first region, where I already got people mad at us.
Here's part 2 of yesterday's tennis drama. American Taylor Fritz, a top 15 player, his girlfriend Morgan Riddle, an influencer. They are both annoyingly attractive, so they get a lot of attention. Yesterday, Fritz took on 4th-seeded Alex Zverev at Wimbledon, lost the first 2 sets, rallied to win the match, though. The usual post-match handshake at the net took a little bit longer than usual because Zverev was lecturing Fritz about something. Afterwards, Zverev said he didn't like the behavior of someone from, quote, outside the tennis world in Fritz's box. That could only mean Riddle. Here's Taylor.
He was, annoyed at some people in my box just being loud, cheering for me, which, I honestly, I can't hear. I don't know, but, no big deal. He said it's nothing towards me or anything like that.
So this story, a little bit deeper than that. Zverev has twice been accused of domestic violence by a girlfriend. One is the mother of his child, and Zverev just agreed to pay her a 6-figure settlement. This has been a contentious topic on tour for a while now. So we had yesterday Riddle first posting on Instagram, quote, cheer loudly, ladies, against Zverev. And after the match, she posted a video of her dancing with the caption, when your man wins one for the girls. Now, I don't know how she behaved during the match, but at least she went into this thinking there was more than just tennis on the line, I guess, so to speak. Both those posts, though, have since been deleted.
Yeah, I don't love this even from her. It's like, if these are serious accusations that he's really going through, not for your TikTok, to take it a little bit more seriously, not you dancing, saying win one for the girls. It's not about you,
Yeah, which
you
is
post a hotline for domestic violence, support or prevention, or do something real, not something that just gets you clicks. I kind of hate this all around. Pretty gross.
Tennis players.
What was that, Manny?
Tennis players think that's what we learned this morning.
Not all of them. It's a great sport. I didn't love this on all sides. Seeing what she did there, it's like, it's not for you to get likes.
Right.
It's felt cheap.
Yeah, I don't totally understand, what are you even allowed to do in the, as far as distractions and all that? It just feels
zero.
Feels like there's a lot going on at this year's Wimbledon. Am I crazy?
Well, Coco Gauff's trying to get
at her
Brad Gilbert to please tell me, what am I doing wrong? It's like, it doesn't usually work like that.
There was, I think it was Taylor Fritz. It might be this, was talking big trash after a win. Was that? Oh, yeah. Hold on, I have it right.
The guy he played had talked trash, so then he talked trash after he beat him. Said enjoy your flight home or something like that.
Right, exactly.
See, that kind of stuff I don't mind.
But that was a different guy. He said, Taylor Fritz, have a nice flight home, because this guy Rinderknecht, that's somebody else, right?
Yes,
Gesundheit.
He's good. He said, this was this guy's.
Perloff calling Wimbledon.
Yeah, it was Tsitsipas.
And there's a set point saved by Rinderknecht.
It was Tsitsipas against a guy with 4 U's in his name the other day. I swear to God, I was like.
Perloff's calling it from the couch.
Rinderknecht said to Fritz, the atmosphere will be quieter than the 2023 French Open because he won't cry as much. He whined a bit, saying it was too noisy. I hold no grudge against him, but he was wrong if he thought the French crowd would send him kisses. So Taylor Fritz afterwards said, have a nice flight home after beating him. This is awesome. Is tennis now a battle royale? Are we getting a little we crossing the lines, as they say?
I love it. Let's get some rivalries.
You for tennis being a little
You have to have rivalries.
Like the way baseball sort of kind of relaxed and let people talk?
Yeah. Also, I was devastated when I found out that Federer and Nadal were friends behind the scenes. It's like, really? You guys don't? No, we can't get any friction whatsoever between you two. They're so classy and gentlemanlike.
I mean, they did play epic matches. So it wasn't like they were mailing it in against each other.
No, they were amazing. But then one's picking up the other one at the airport. I don't even do that for my friends, my real friend.
It's not pro wrestling, though. It's not like you were honestly devastated, or is that just a figure of speech?
You know what I'm saying. I was bummed.
Were you spitting at the feet of other Buffalo teenage tennis players when you were growing up?
You got to take it personal.
Like bumping shoulders in the mall walking by her?
And also, the parents get involved.
Oh, yeah.
It's the worst.
Apparently, there's a lot of animosity on this tour.
And from Maggie. Again, Maggie choosing violence. Run over Kyle Filipowski. Give me a tennis rivalry. Somebody punch somebody.
All these sports that are like the traveling circuses, like the tennis where they all travel together, or NASCAR or F1 or whatever, where they all just sort of are on tour together all the time. You got to have rivalries there because you must not be able to stand each other.
I watched the Federer doc, and they were all saying nice things about each other. Nadal and Federer, great friends, of course. Djokovic said nothing but nice things about Federer. You can tell the day that Djokovic retires, they will not speak again for 30 years. That is totally, there is, like, that's for the cameras, right?
Djokovic said, I crashed the party.
Yeah, there's certain friendships that just like, Djokovic is not well liked. That seems quite obvious.
Yeah, well, he likes it that way.
We'll see what today has in store. We got a Carlos Alcaraz against American Tommy Paul, plus Emma Navarro faces Jasmine Paolini in the quarters on the women's side after upsetting Coco Gauff over the weekend. We got our first look at Zach Edey in Grizzlies colors last night. 14 points, 15 rebounds, 4 blocks in a 97-95 loss to the Jazz in the Salt Lake City Summer League. This is what catchers hear when he's on base.
Ella de La Cruz.
Because this keeps happening.
Here's the 2-2. Well, he's going to try to do it right now. De La Cruz off for third. He'll make it easily. Swing and a miss by Candelario, but De La Cruz with his 45th stolen base of the year.
Just broke it.
And that does break the record.
That's from Reds Radio. De La Cruz, 2 steals last night. As they said, 45 for the season, passing Billy Hamilton for the most by a Red before the All-Star break.
That's crazy.
Also scored twice, drove in a run in Cincy's 6-0 win over the Rockies.
Okay, they have to do this mic'd up opportunity at the All-Star game, and I'm going to be really disappointed if Major League Baseball, ESPN, whoever's putting this on, doesn't come through with this. Ellie De La Cruz says he's been learning Japanese to try to talk to Shohei Ohtani.
Mm-hmm.
Must have this. Like, you got to have them both mic'd up. I need to see the conversation in Japanese between Ellie De La Cruz and Shohei. It's such a great idea.
It's a great idea.
And De La Cruz is a star, so I hope he gets his shine during this All-Star game.
The Tigers blanked the Guardians last night, 1-0 for a 4th straight win. Also 4 in a row for the Rangers, 9-4 victory in Anaheim. Then the Twins got an 8-6 win in 11 at the White Sox for a 3-game run. And Keegan Bradley is the U.S. Ryder Cup captain for next year. Bethpage at 38. He is the youngest U.S. captain since Arnold Palmer was a playing captain back in 1963. This job's supposed to be Tiger Woods, but they never reached an agreement after months of talks. Guys, back to you.
Bogusch, thank you. Let's quickly hit the phones here because Daryl is in California. He has a suggestion for the Sitcom Bracket. We released the first region about 40 minutes ago. Good morning, Daryl.
Hey, good morning, Maggie. How you doing?
We're doing great. What's up?
I just wanted to mention, I don't think it's really fair. I don't know who's going to be in the next brackets, but I think it should be kind of split, according to eras, because like I said, I'm old school, and I like to think about shows like Taxi and Barney Miller and Laverne and Shirley and things like that, because I think Laverne and Shirley, had the first Beavis and Butthead before there was a Beavis and Butthead with Liddy and Squiggy on there, so.
Well, I'll tell you, Daryl, and thank you for the call. We did think about that. We did think about putting the older shows versus the older shows and the newer shows versus the newer shows. We thought, let's really make this like the NCAA tournament where, Duke and North Carolina don't play each other every year. You got to have, Oakland play Kentucky.
Yeah.
You got to mix it up. So, and you never know what could happen. So we put everything jumbled together.
You pop some EJ's pain meds and put Saved by the Bell in. Right. Over Three's Company.
I wish we had that excuse.
Just from the bid committee, 2 of the 3 shows that he had mentioned are not in the tournament.
Oh, wow.
I know. I wasn't going to mention it because I didn't want to.
I mean, if you can't get into the bit, can you do anything?
No, they're in the bit.
No. They're not in the big. They're not in the big field.
Not in the big field.
Nope.
I didn't want to break Daryl's heart on this one.
That's why I didn't say what.
Well, he brings up one I think we're going to hear about a lot. A beloved show. I think there's one name that's a snub, which I'm fine with. That's going to come up a lot.
Yeah.
Schlemazo, however that song goes. Whoops. Fizz and Fuzz Incorporated.
That's not it.
They're John a taxi.
Schlemazo.
Perloff calls Wimbledon.
Fizz and Fuzz Incorporated. We're going to do it our way.
Thank you.
Horseshoes and hand grenades. Perloff just close to the hole. But not exactly right.
Wait, do you guys all have that song memorized?
Yes.
More so than you do.
Schlemiel. Schlemazel.
What did I say?
Haas and Pfeffer Incorporated.
Not
Wait,
that.
what's that? Zach's what? Haas and what?
Haas and Pfeffer.
Yeah, Incorporated.
Wow, you guys are good.
855-212.
Haas and Pfeffer? That doesn't sound right.
4227. There you go. All right. Yes. Sitcom Bracket is alive. You can go vote at our X account at Maggie and Pearl. We've got NFL for you next. We are previewing the NFC West throughout this show. Hit the 49ers. We're going to hit the Seahawks, the Rams, and the Cardinals. Don't move.
You're in a 5-minute break.
I'm going to do Cooper Flag. Oh, you doing it?
I'm going to switch. Do Cooper Flag.
Sorry, I wrote it on the way in.
Okay, because I have half a joke of this one.
Okay.
Andrew Bogusch, he's got an ankle that's tricky. Milky white, it hurts, sometimes it's quite picky. Bug bites here and there, make it itch and twitch. Got him looking like he's doing a funny little hitch. Oh, Perloff's ankle, what a show you put on. Twisting and turning from dusk till dawn. We laugh and we cheer as you do your dance. Andrew's ankle, you never miss a chance. His ankle's like a magnet for every bug in town. Mosquitoes have a party, won't leave him alone now. Red and bumpy, itching all night long. Andrew's ankle's got a bitey little song. Oh, Perloff's ankle, what a show you put on. Twisting and turning from dusk till dawn. We laugh and we cheer as you do your dance. Andrew's ankle, you never miss a chance. His ankle's like a magnet for every bug in town. Mosquitoes have a party, won't leave him alone now. Red and bumpy, itching all night long. Andrew's ankle's got a bitey little. In the world of sports talk, under digital skies, lives a fan named Ostrich Eyes 87 with a heart.
Peter Bellatti's got a thing for the pop scene queen. Dua Lipa on his mind, she reigns supreme. Every morning starts with Don't Start Now. He's dancing in the kitchen, taking a bow. Oh, Peter Bellotti loves Dua, what can he do? Her beats in his heart through and through. From new rules to levitating, Peter Bellotti's love for Dua never abating. He's got posters on the wall, her vinyl spin, every lyric memorized, each little grin. At every party he's her #1 fan, talking about her tours and her master plan. When the One Kiss song plays, Peter Bellotti's on his feet, singing every word oh so sweet. He dreams of a concert, front row seat.
Hurricanes.
Mirror on the wall. He is purple, the fairest of them all. Purple shirt, purple shirt. People so fine.
People weighing in on the first region of the Sitcom Bracket, which was just released this hour. We'll get back to it. But Ed is in Shreveport. Ed, you've got a thought on what we've revealed so far, just the first region of the bracket of 64.
Yes, I was just calling with a correction. You said that Kim Fields was in Good Times. That was not Kim Fields. That was Janet Jackson. Kim Fields was on Facts of Life.
Oh,
Wait.
I'm sorry. I thought that she had an appearance on Good Times, Different Strokes and Facts of Life. Was I wrong about that? Just Different Strokes and Facts of Life?
Yes.
Okay, sorry about that.
It's okay, and I don't think that Saved by the Bell belongs in this either. I think it should have been Three's Company. That's just my 2 cents.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Ed, you're kind of in the majority. People are upset about Saved by the Bell being... But I ask you, is it not a sitcom by definition?
I guess by definition, but it just, I mean, it was on during the day. It was terrible. I mean, it belongs in the worst sitcoms like Full House or something like that. I mean, it just was awful.
Oh, that's another one, Ed. Thank you. Controversial, but whether or not Full House is in this bracket.
I really don't get why there's so much heat on Saved by the Bell compared to others.
Because it's a kid show.
But a lot of sitcoms are for kids.
But I mean, there's
Not
a couple.
sitcoms.
There's a couple shows here that you could consider kid shows that are in the bracket.
Right, but when you think, I think when you think of sitcoms, you think of NBC Thursday Night and The Lineage and The History, like we did, that are really like smart, funny shows.
Well, it's an NBC.
But Saved by the Bell had a different objective altogether.
Well, NBC was Saved by the Bell. They created, I mean, here's the thing about it. Yes, the time was different because it was on Saturday mornings and it was more for kids. But I think that's the beauty of sitcoms is a lot of them are meant to be watched by the whole family. Right? So kids can get something out of it and the adults can get something out of it. Saved by the Bell was definitely not something for the adults. You'd find that incredibly annoying. But I'm going to be honest, you'd find Full House probably pretty annoying too.
I'm sure 75% of our callers do not like Full House for that very reason.
Well, cut it out. And first, and second of all,
why do you want That's So Raven on this list? Like, where's the line?
No,
like for kids shows.
I like that. I'm not like the executive producer of this show that probably would want all that on this list. But
damn.
Well, that's a variety show, all that.
My only problem
sketch comedy
with Saved by the Bell is that their basketball court was the size of the room that you're sitting in now, and it was called a full court.
Well, you got to take that up with the Fresh Prince too, because that was a small court.
Do you remember that show with Emmanuel Lewis, Webster?
Yeah.
Oh my! They had a gym. See, the basket might have been 6 feet high. That always annoyed me too.
That was on for like 6 seasons.
That was a big show. Alex Karras.
So Kaplan's asking our chat, what about the Jetsons? What about Hanging with Mr. Cooper? So So the Jetsons did not make it, but we did talk about that. There are other animated shows who did make it. Obviously, Simpsons is a 1 seed. But Hang with Mr. Cooper, good show for kids. Definitely a Saturday morning show. But don't you think Saved by the Bell has been a little bit more iconic than Hanging with Mr. Cooper?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Like you also had the college years. You had the new class.
This will be the first time I've ever debated which is a better show, Saved by the Bell or Hanging with Mr. Cooper. I'm not 11. I don't care.
But, this is funny from GG, who's in our chat, which is youtube.com/InfinitySportsNet, twitch.tv/InfinitySportsNetwork. Said, funny that Saved by the Bell isn't a sitcom because it was on Saturday mornings when many of these shows we know because of syndication and being on the weekends. And all different weird times, right? So I think that's a good point. I don't think the time of day should be a knock on Saved by the Bell as a sitcom.
That's a take. I personally don't agree. I mean, I think, you didn't even mention the Flintstones. To me, that's not a sitcom like Cheers is. So, but then again, there's new sitcoms like Curb Your Enthusiasm, which are much different than Cheers too. So the form does expand, but the kids shows I am not a huge fan of. But they belong in the bracket because the bracket's supposed to be for everybody. It's not just our favorite shows. Otherwise, it's Always Sunny in Philadelphia would win this thing.
Yeah, right, of course.
Perfect Strangers.
Yeah.
Perfect Strangers.
We'd have Balky on next Tuesday.
Some of those did not make it into this bracket. I know this has been
It's hard to do
Three's
64.
Three's Company is really chafing people, and I get it, but just wait because there were other ones that were left out of this bracket that also are hard cuts to make.
We have to look back. What was we discussed Three's Company. I can't remember what we came up with.
We discussed Three's Company. We discussed Saved by the Bell. We discussed a couple others that got snubbed out of here. We basically got in fistfights over freaking Home Improvement. Happened. Not a joke. 855-212-4227. Coming up, we go to the NFC West and what's in store for that division.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. 1 minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Believe it or not, NFL training camps are going to be opening up right around the corner. So with that in mind, Perloff and I going through every single division in the NFL day by day to give our opinions. We're starting with the NFC West, Perloff. We already have talked about the San Francisco 49ers, but my take on the 49ers is I believe they are not going to be back in the Super Bowl. Not just because of how hard it is for the Super Bowl runner-up to get back. It's not something that has happened since the Patriots did it in the early 2000s. But on top of that, while the roster looks great, they did have some incredible, unprecedented health on the offensive side last year. And I think all this scar tissue does kind of build up. And this window is open right now for the 49ers, no doubt. But if you don't capitalize in 5 seasons, basically, of, being a very good team that either is going to the Super Bowl or at least going to the NFC Championship game, I think it's a lot to ask to do that year after year after year when your team's playing more games than most other teams. And you have some other NFC teams that are really nipping at your heels. Hell, the 49ers probably should have lost that game to the Detroit Lions. If the Lions actually play a smarter game in the NFC Championship game, we're not even talking about the 49ers losing in the Super Bowl to the Chiefs once again.
Yeah, but it's so funny. Every argument you just said could be used for the Niners. Like, oh, they keep on going deep in the postseason and getting back to deep in the postseason. They've been a 4 conference title game. So you would have thought, you say unprecedented health history. They've been healthy enough to make 4 conference title games. That's pretty darn good. 2 Super Bowls. So the one thing I would counter on the health is they do have a little depth. It is always a concern with Christian McCaffrey. Any running back who gets a high volume, either that he's going to get hurt or that his production is going to drop off. But I think one thing about the Niners is they are a little deeper than your normal contender. I mean, they really go. They have an incredible amount of weapons offensively, more than anybody, I would argue.
Okay, offensively, yes, a lot of weapons. But again, Christian McCaffrey at 28 years old, I know you just gave him an extension, but you gave him an extension, you gave him more money, and then you're talking about, well, we need running back by committee to keep him healthy. It's like, all right, well, that's not going to happen. If he's healthy, he's going to be out there and be the focal point of the offense, or at least one of the biggest cogs, and that's how it should be. But again, he has stayed healthy the last 2 seasons, but before that, it was 2 seasons where he wasn't healthy. And so are you waiting for something, for him to maybe have some issues? George Kittle was healthy, but then also had this core surgery where he dropped 30 pounds. It's just hard. Trent Williams is 35. Yes, there are a lot of weapons, but we know how this goes sometimes.
Is that what we're calling Ozempic now? Core surgery? No, I'm just kidding. But, where is George Kittle? Rank him on your weapon. He's probably the second best tight end of his generation. He's probably the 4th weapon on that team. So I think he could survive that. I mean, really, on paper, you have to admit, everything you say is totally true and logical, but you look at it on paper, doesn't part of you be like, wow, just imagine Nick Bosa coming off the edge, Fred Warner, a linebacker, great cornerbacks, great safeties. I mean, everything is there for them to do this. It's just, I think you would bring up a really relevant question. Will the scar tissue start to build up? I think that's the concern.
Pine Needles in the chat, youtube.com/InfinitySportsNet. So Maggie's a Bills fan. Does that mean she holds the world record for scar tissue of losing Super Bowls? Yes. It takes one to know one. And I know how hard this is. And when things start to build up, hell, you're already seeing it with Ayuk. Now, they were able to weather the Deebo Samuel contract hold in, the Nick Bosa contract hold in, but it's definitely getting a little stickier here with Ayuk because it seems like he actually wants to go to the Commanders, of all places, to play with his former college quarterback, Jaden Daniel.
Yeah, but listen, you have Deebo Samuel, you have Pearsall now, you have Juwan Jennings, you have a very light George Kittle, although he put the weight back on. I mean, they can survive without Ayuk. They were good before Ayuk got there. They're going to be good after Ayuk is gone.
So that's a little bit about the 49ers. You're welcome to call in at 855-212-4227. They've obviously won this division the last 2 years. 12-5 record a year ago, 13-4 the year before, 10-7 the year before that. Last time they had 3 straight seasons of double-digit wins was going back to Jim Harbaugh, and then that sort of fell apart pretty quickly. Okay, we're both going to have a take about an opinion about 2 other teams in this division, Perloff. You're up first. What's your take on the NFC West?
Okay, there is a unit that people are sleeping on in the NFC West, and a lot has to go right here, but the Seattle Seahawks are loaded in all caps on offense. Name, except for San Francisco and maybe 1 or 2 other teams, name a better group of weapons for quarterback Geno Smith than this. Wide receiver 1, DK Metcalf. Wide receiver 2, Tyler Lockett. Wide receiver 3, Jackson Smith and Jigba. Tight end, Noah Fant, who is actually really good. I think he's underutilized. And what my favorite part of this is the running backs. Kenneth Walker, love. Zach Charbonnet, love. There is just, and then they have Kenny McIntosh they brought in as the third guy. Listen, their line has struggled in the past, but they've been drafting for that. The only thing that can slow down this unit, if they really want to lay it on offensively, is they have a defensive-minded coach who they brought in, Mike McDonald from the Ravens. But if they want to move that ball, oh, my God, there's so many weapons. I feel like Geno Smith could throw for 5,000 yards this year. They have Ryan Grubb came in as offensive coordinator. You watch the Huskies. Guys were open down the field all the time. He was at Washington, former Washington Huskies offensive coordinator. This feels like a powder keg of a unit that no one's paying attention to. The win total in Seattle is 7.5. Not big. I think it's new coach. The defense was terrible, just terrible last year under Pete Carroll. But I think that they're very, very interesting offense. And I hope that Mike McDonald doesn't slow it down and just opens it up because I love DK Metcalf. I love JSN, a fan of Tyler Lockett. Like, they could move this ball. Don't you love those guys as much as me, Maggie? Aren't you in on this set of weapons?
You know, I am. Lockett's, 32? I mean, he's a little bit older, but yeah.
He is, you're right. But he's always been like, who doesn't like Tyler Lockett?
He's been playing for, it seems like, our whole natural lives. But yes, I think
you're confusing him with Doug Baldwin.
Yeah, right, who also played forever. I do like this offense. Here's what I'll ask you, though, about the Seahawks. And Geno is good and fine. They brought in Sam Howell from D.C. Here's my question about this team, though. Are they a slam dunk playoff team?
Oh, no. God, no.
Right. Okay, so you're going to find yourself in this sort of middle. And I'm just sort of asking, like, you know, and again, it's a new coach. We're not sure what's happening with the ownership situation. There's some rumors that Jeff Bezos has been liquidating Amazon stock, and I think some sports fans are wondering whether or not it's to make a move to buy the Seattle Seahawks, obviously the founder of Amazon. I don't know exactly what the identity of this team is yet. And I'm wondering, are you closer to Super Bowl or are you closer to not? And when are you going to find your quarterback of the future? I'm not trying to shove Geno Smith out the door.
Right.
I'm just asking, when are you going to really get your quarterback and how are you going to get that person? Because Geno and Sam Howell are not getting you to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I mean, they've set their win total 7.5.
Right. That's what. So
that's not even the kind. Yeah.
So you're in the middle then. So
right.
Where do you go from here? Because how do you solve the most important position, which is what is going to eventually get you to beat the 49ers and beat the Rams and actually get back to the Super Bowl and, you know, the post Pete Carroll era, what are you doing at quarterback? And if you're one of those middle of the pack teams and middle of the road, how do you solve the quarterback situation?
Well, here's the thing. I don't think there's expectation to make the Super Bowl this year or even the playoffs because Mike McDonald has to rebuild this offense from scratch.
The defense.
The defense. They were 30th last year.
They have Witherspoon. I mean, they've got a couple weapons.
I mean, they have a lot of work to do there, and maybe he turns around immediately. if he can bring some John Harbaugh energy and make them tougher. So I just think like he gets a 3-year window, doesn't he?
Yeah, but I'm surprised because you're someone who's so
But
being in the middle.
I know, but they're doing the smart thing. They have no commitment at quarterback, so they can do whatever they want. They're not stuck with Dak Prescott or somebody.
But who's going to be the quarterback?
Well, that's fine. Having no one there is a great value, so they could go any direction they want next season. Because Gino, I believe there's no big money on the books.
No, it's
and
not that.
Sam Hauser's no money. So basically, they can go, take a swing with Gino this year and then start over, which is much better. Limbo is when you have all these contracts you can't get out of. That's the kind of limbo. This is like exciting limbo. This is like expiring contracts all over the offense. So I think you're looking at a 3 or 4 year window. You're psyched if you're a Seahawks fan, right? Like, would you rather have Geno Smith coming off the book next year, or would you rather be, give me a team here, like Arizona with Kyler Murray stuck on your books for the next 3 years?
Well, I mean, Kyler, maybe that's a tough one, but I guess like here's what I'm saying. I don't know if I'm a Seahawks fan, if I actually love where you are, because you're kind of admitting that you're a fringe, maybe playoff team if everything goes your way. You're definitely not a Super Bowl contender. You definitely need a new defense, but where are you going to be drafting here?
Well,
above 14, probably.
Maybe. Depends.
Like not in the top 5.
But I think you're going to be, depending, Mike McDonald might try and slow this team to a grind, but they could be really fun to watch. They could be 9-8. Gino could have a big year and then move on. I just think it's kind of a fun team. It really is in a weird way, and I think that's the best you can hope for right now.
Yeah, I also wonder sometimes where GMs, and listen, John Schneider, really good GM, and found Russell Wilson right in the 4th round. And if you lull yourself into thinking, I'll find the next guy that low, or I'll find the next diamond in the rough guy, and it doesn't generally work like that. You generally get one of those.
So you're saying you don't think that they're going to be bad enough to get a top quarterback in next year's draft, which might not be any good anyway. But what about?
And they're not going to be good enough to be contenders.
Yeah, so maybe they go free agent route.
Okay, but now you're doing that, and is that person actually going to be an upgrade over Geno? These are just the questions that I want answered for the Seahawks, which is what's the plan at quarterback, and I don't feel like I have that.
That's all true, but watch out for this team on offense. They are going to be really, because I think Kenneth Walker and Charbonnet is like boom, boom. Like I think this. First of all, I think Mike McDonald's going to be a good coach. I think Ryan Grubb's going to be a star. I think they're going to lose him. I think this offense could be really good.
Yeah, the offensive line is not good. But
it's they did a lot to improve. They were very aware, at least there was front office awareness, oh man, our O-line stinks. So they've made a lot of moves, and some of the younger players are getting older. I'm not so freaked out about that.
So that's a little of what's going on with the Seattle Seahawks, and curious to get your takes at 855-212-4227. Are you encouraged by the Seahawks, or like me, do you have questions about quarterback situation moving forward and sort of this kind of like limbo team? Let's go to the Rams as we're breaking down the NFC West. I don't think the Cooper Kupp is going to be a meaningful part of this offense moving forward. It's been 2 seasons removed since the Triple Crown season where he won Offensive Player of the Year. And I think that the Rams have smartly filled in, and their offense now runs through Kyren Williams and through Puka Nacua. And while I think, Cooper Kupp is a great story and has been a great story in football, won the Super Bowl, obviously got all the accolades, I just can't see him being a meaningful part of the offense again. And I think that the Rams probably have to understand that and may even, I don't say moving away from him, but they found other weapons on offense. And I think we're going to remember the great season from Cooper Kupp and the magic he had with Matthew Stafford. I think it's a memory.
Oh, I strong disagree on that one.
How's he going to get healthy?
Well,
it's been little things, but they add up.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, Kyren Williams, how healthy is he? And I love Kyren Williams, but I feel like he is an injury waiting to happen. I know he's hurt this offseason too. I'm not sure he's a full 100% go for camp. I think Cooper Kupp is awesome, and Puka Nacua is great, but I think a part of that was a function of the McVay offense. Everything was funneled to him when either Kupp was on the field and getting double covered or Kupp was off the field. I feel like if Kupp is there, oh man, like he's still Stafford's whoopee. I think he's going to be, like, if he's on the field, he's going to be good. So I guess the question is he on the field? I would not write off Cooper Kupp. I still would easily draft him. In fact, if you gave me a choice, if say I'm in the 3rd round and I'm looking, or maybe it's 2nd round, if I'm looking at Kupp and Nacua, I would still lean Kupp, and it sounds like you would take Nakua in the fantasy draft.
Well, definitely. And this Cooper Kupp, unfortunately, Perloff has crossed over to what I like to call Perloff's woodshed, which is where he takes athletes once they turn a certain age. And Cooper Kupp's 31. And you have told me any wide receiver after 31, after 30 generally, and ones who are battling injury, it's going to be really difficult.
But Kupp's had a lot of time off, and he started really late.
Well, time off. It's been rehabbing. It's not the
Kupp,
same.
when he came back in December, put up 115 against Baltimore in that rainy game, put up 111 against the Commanders. That's not too hard. And then he didn't do much the last 2 games. So he had some big games. When he's healthy, I mean, dude, nobody gets in and out of a route like Cooper Kupp. I'm not sure. I understand what you're saying, and you're right. You're throwing my age argument against me, but Cooper Kupp's so sick. And I feel like 31, but how many games has he played? He has not played the normal amount of games for a 31-year-old wide receiver.
He has played 92 games over his career.
That's nothing.
Yeah, but still.
That's 5 seasons.
Only 9 games 2 years ago, 12 games last season. Again, this stuff builds up pretty fast. We're 2 seasons away from that Triple Crown season. So that's a little bit on the NFC West. Again, Seattle, the Rams, our Arizona take, I think, is probably going to be about the same. Give us Marvin Harrison, and let's see what happens.
Oh, man, that's exactly what I think he's going to have the best rookie season since Randy Moss.
Rookie of the year?
I'm a big Jaden Daniels fan, so that's going to be a battle. But, oh, man, is this going to be fun. And Caleb's going to be good, too. So you got 3 vying for it. Does wide receiver ever win rookie of the year? I don't know what the number is. Randy Moss must have.
I think Garrett Wilson did, too, didn't he?
Yeah, Garrett Wilson won it. This is gonna be a great rookie because look at it, the first 15 picks were offense. So this is gonna be like an all-time offensive rookie of the year contest.
855-212-4227. So we're going to continue to break down a division a day. We started with the NFC West. We know we're on in San Francisco. We're on in Seattle. We're on all over California. We're on in Arizona. Curious to get your thoughts if you are a fan of one of those teams. Okay, so much more to do, including an all-time what would you do? Got to put yourself in one athlete's shoes, and you tell us what decision you'd make, and we'll tell you our thoughts next. It's Maggie and Perloff.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 2 minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back, Maggie and Perloff. You can go to our Twitter feed at Maggie and Pearl to vote on our sitcom bracket. Some real close contests there. We unveiled the first bracket, the Seinfeld bracket. What are we calling these brackets after the number one seed? Because there was discussion of calling them after a character. So this is either the Seinfeld bracket or the Jackie Giles bracket.
Or there was thought of making it about the location. There's going to be like the Monk's restaurant bracket. I don't know. We're all over the map, but it's basically the Seinfeld bracket.
Yeah. I think we should do
Seinfeld
after
region.
number one. Not everybody knows all these shows. We're going to update the poll results later. There are some battle royales going here. We have a 50-50 even.
Can confirm, yes.
And also
50-50.
The major controversy which has developed, which is Saved by the Bell a sitcom? People are not happy about that. Meanwhile, the YouTube chat, youtube.com/InfinitySportsNet, said Bogusch looks like a character on that 70s show.
Yeah. Oh, my God. Totally.
Topher Grace. Sign me up.
You look like Topher Grace? That 70s show is a 5 seed going up against the aforementioned Saved by the Bell.
You have a big 70s show vibe. You're like kind of a combination of Topher Grace and some of the other characters. I don't know. You feel like you could be on that show.
You think Wilmer Valderrama or
Danny Masterson?
Danny Masterson. Like if you face mash Danny Masterson and Topher Grace, you'd have Bogusch.
Well, we didn't say you act
just
like
Topher
him.
Grace.
Okay, they're obviously, by the way, it's Danny Masterson and the Cosby Show were big issues here.
Yeah. We
So
talked
we're
about
going to
this.
separate the art from the artist in this case.
Sure. Yeah. The Cosby Show does make it into the bracket of 64. We did have a robust conversation about that. Bill Cosby's fall from grace and Danny Masterson's literally in jail right now.
Yeah, it's hard to get, but there's so much other great work on that 70s show. It's hard to get excited about the Cosby Show. It just really, I loved that show as a kid. I couldn't. Is it even on syndication?
I don't know. Can't watch it now though.
No,
which is a shame. You're right for the other actors and the Felicia Rashads and stuff. But
his name is on the show, so forget it.
yeah. So, but it is in the bracket.
Yeah.
Has anybody seen the new, was it that 90s show? Has anybody watched that?
It's
Is it
on
good?
Netflix now,
Yeah,
right?
I have not
It's always been on Netflix.
It looks bad.
Looks brutal.
Probably, right?
But there is a scene apparently that I've seen, go through my algorithm that Topher Grace actually tells his daughter, I guess, that he will put his foot up her ass.
Like the dad used to always say.
Yeah, just
on that
exactly.
70s show.
Exactly. And Red actually did say, like, "Oh, I'm so proud."
Doesn't hold up.
You know what strikes me also too? The mom in that 70s show later became a love interest Phoebe's brother in
Yes.
Friends.
I was just thinking
was
that.
the sort of May-December romance. That character always struck me more in Friends as well.
Was that like Giovanni Ribisi?
Giovanni Ribisi was, am I right? That was Phoebe's brother?
Yes. Who she didn't know she had or something like that?
Yeah. There was I got a close friend is
She had their baby.
Yes. A close friend is mad Friends was not a number one seed. It was not a number one seed. It has not been
Yeah.
unveiled what seed it is. But yeah, there's certainly a lot of Friends fans. We know that, Maggie.
No, for sure. And that was that I'm sure is going to lead to some controversy. But right now, the first part of the bracket has been released, the Seinfeld region, and you can go and vote again at Maggie and Pearl, which Perloff just mentioned. Bogusch has headlines for us. Oh, or should we do the what would you do, or do you want to do headlines? Because we'd like everybody's opinion on the what would you do.
Why don't we do the what would you do? Okay. What would you do? Do? All right. Help me out there.
I get it.
Okay. Jalen Brunson.
That was kind of you to laugh. And this is the person who wants to keep Saved by the Bell out of the
I was
bracket.
trying. I was trying.
Like you could do better.
Because I get courtesy laughs.
I was trying to vamp here as I pull up Jalen Brunson's contract offers. Okay, so the Knicks can offer 4 years, $157 million extension to Jalen Brunson this Friday, and he's considering signing it per Knicks reporter Fred Katz. If he decides not to sign it, he can sign a 5-year, $269 million deal next summer. Obviously, we don't do a lot of math here, but 269 is much bigger than 157.
Thanks.
All right.
Here's my question for you.
Dartmouth.
Let's take out the details of Jalen Brunson's role in the Knicks. Let's forget where the cap is going. Are you the kind of person who would take the 4 years, 157 right now and not have to wait a year to take a much bigger 5-year, 269? In other words, would you want the money in your pocket, even if it's less, or would you wait a year, possibly risking injury or who knows what?
So we talked about this with a guy who had a bet going. Remember, he had like a DraftKings parlay and whether you would cash out or not cash out.
Always my worst nightmare. I never know whether to cash out or not cash out.
Don't worry. I don't think he's going to. Well, I don't know how much you're betting. You might not be in the same predicament as that
Well,
guy.
I put up
He had like $85,000 on the line.
I
For
put
me,
up
it's
like
$5, $10.
I
Yeah,
put
that's
$10 on 10-team parlays before, and I've never even. I'd love to be at the point where I had 9-1 and I could cash out on 10. Never even come close.
No, not even close.
But even so, I think at a big parlay, we've all experienced this. I'm a cash in the pocket guy. I cash out every time.
You cash out. Okay.
Every time.
So I think there has to be one small tweak with this Jalen Brunson thing, because I think most of us will look at that total and go, well, would you like $112 million? Of course I would like it. Or $157 million? Of course I'd like that.
Give me 157.
Right, but he's already got $100 million in the bank. So does it? You've already had the life-changing money. You've probably bought something silly. You've set your kids up, or your mom, or your grandparents, or whatever your fantasy is. If you get super rich and all the nice things you would do, that's already done. That fantasy's fulfilled. So now you're just talking about the second contract. Like, you're not going to the poorhouse. There's no poverty. You're not, making ends meet. So does that change the calculus for Brunson?
Well, I kind of said we're not going to get into the particulars of Brunson in this case. It was.
Well, it's hard because the amount of money is so big. It's funny money. So, like, of course you would say
but
yes to
I'll
it.
counter that argument. 4 years, $157 million compared to 5 years, $269, which he would sign next summer. So that means he'd be under contract for the Knicks for 6 years. He's 26 now, so in the current deal, he'd be 31 and get another bite at the apple, where the cap might be twice what it is now because the NBA money. So he could probably sign another 4-year deal worth probably $350 million or $400 million the next one. So overall, you could argue he's saving 2 years to get to the market. So if you want to get in the details of Jalen Brunson, maybe overall it's smarter to do it now. Because he's still going to be good at 31. I think his style play would translate.
So here's another question, which is, does the best player on the team need to be the highest paid? Because if he takes the deal now, he's not going to be the highest paid. OG Anunoby will be the highest paid. Does that matter? You think in the pecking order of, alpha males, like the best player has to be making the most?
I wouldn't think any player's opinion. It's like you're doing what's in your best financial interest, right? Is there any other player come into your purview? I wouldn't imagine. Doesn't everybody make economic decisions based on their future? Why would you look around and say, "Oh, you mean like as a locker room thing?"
I don't know.
I can't imagine. I mean, did anybody in Boston really care when Jalen Brown was getting more than Jason Tatum? Was that a big issue?
Well, here's the thing.
But also, Jalen Brown might be their best player.
Right. He also won finals MVP.
Right.
But the other part, and Tatum was on the brink of getting that big money. Like, here's a question. We just were talking about Paul George recently, right? And he went to the 76ers. He got an offer from the Clippers that was 2 years, 60 on top of the 50 that he would have opted into. And he thought that was insulting because Kawhi Leonard had 3 years, 150. And they said, well, just give me what Kawhi has, but give me a no-trade clause. And they said, we won't give you the no-trade clause. And he's like, I won't do it. So, like, obviously he felt like I need to be making more money.
Well, yeah, but I don't think that was totally about the teammates. I mean, he ended up getting $200 million, right, from the Sixers. So that was about like that. That was an incredibly insulting offer. It was about 30% of market value.
Right, but if he got the Kawhi deal, 150 versus
done it, right?
200.
Right, then he would have.
No, they offered him that. They were quibbling over the no trade clause.
So he signed 4-year 212. Like, yeah, I mean, yeah, that was insulting. I think.
Okay, but again, he's made more money than he'll ever be able to spend.
But he was not looking around at his teammates and saying, I need this money. Because I don't think so. I think he was looking at his individual, right? Like, I don't know. I think a guy like Jalen Brunson is looking at how can I maximize my value as an NBA player. I don't think he cares what OG is making. Do you think that was in his head?
No, what Kawhi was making.
No. I'm saying
about
Jalen Brunson and OG. I don't even think he spends 2 seconds thinking about somebody else's salary. I think he's looking at my own calculus. I would think.
Yeah, I don't know. 855-212-4227. Bogusch has headlines. How's a little what would you do? I think we'd all take the money.
Oh, I'd wait. Now, the back end argument's smart. I didn't think about that at first to get back to another deal. But just thinking of from now to next year, there's no way the Knicks are not going to offer him that deal. Like, they're not going to, unless he dies.
Yeah.
Like, he's. But I'm saying, like that's the point. Like,
even if he had a knee injury,
he could tear his
shoulder,
ACL.
right.
They're going to sign him that deal next. They're not going to let him walk away. So he's going to get that 260, whatever it is, and at 110 more than what's on the table right now, I would wait.
Take out Maggie's point about him already making $100 million. Let's say he was on some rookie deal, never made any money. What would you do then? You have nothing. You've made $4 million.
Is everything else the same?
Everything
he's on
else
the same trajectory. The
deal.
city basically wants that.
Yeah, he's a star player.
So everything else is the same. That number is still guaranteed to be there a year from now. So I would wait.
I think if you hadn't got, I think the key component, Maggie, is you saying he already has $100 million in the bank. If you don't have money in the bank, you are taking that 157. There's just no way you could risk that. I think.
Yeah, but to Bogusch's point, everyone in the NBA gets paid now. Like, nobody's really scared away from knee surgeries. Well, maybe feet, but that would be the only thing. And he's not a 7-footer.
KD blew out his Achilles in 2019 and took him forever to get back.
But he got jobs.
Yeah, but he's KD. Is
apparently Brunson is KD plus LeBron plus Kobe plus Wilt.
Right,
you listen to EJ.
I think you've been listening to EJ too much.
He's on pain medication.
I'm not sure
269 is a deal for the player Brunson is apparently.
Not sure it's the same calculus for Jalen Brunson. I think if he had not gotten paid, then he would jump all over this deal, say, I'll go back in the market in 4 years.
If it's me, I'm taking the deal and I'm opening up at the end of the term. Trying to open up in the second to last year or the last year of the deal.
Oh, go back to the negotiating table? Yep. Yeah. Well, if you're still a star like he is now, you'd have the leverage. What else is going on in the world, Bogusch?
Well, my never-ending pursuit of Pete happiness brings me to this.
I will be moving on to coach the Los Angeles Lakers. 342 is alive and well. 342 will continue to operate. I'm going to have no involvement. My entire focus right now is on coaching the Los Angeles Lakers.
Who is this? No, Pete. Why are you grunting? This is good news. JJ's getting out of the podcast business.
Thank
His
God.
non-LeBron
Get
show,
lost.
The Old Man the Three. It's over. 342 is the production company that I think he might own partially, but that's going to exist post him. But you're done until he gets fired in 18 months as Lakers head coach. You're done with JJ Redick podcasts.
Thank God. All I have to see him on the sideline and hear him in a press conference, and I can choose not to listen to that. That's great.
You also could have chosen not to listen to the podcast
the
with
same
LeBron.
thing, but
Okay.
still, it's different.
Here's a question. Why did the pod have to end? Can't Tommy Atler just do it with someone else?
But isn't he the old man or the three? I mean, in one way, he's
Find
gone.
another sharpshooter? What's Dennis Scott doing?
Someone else can.
NBA TV.
Where's Craig Hodges these days?
Yeah, we can find
I think
another
Kenny
old
Smith
guy.
is about to have a lot of free time.
listen, all the 3-point shooters in the league, we can find someone who's retired.
Someone else can sit there and drink some wine and talk about basketball. I mean, there's a lot of other people that are probably better than J.J. Redick that could do the job.
Why are you pitching a continuation? You're getting what you want.
No, it's not.
He just wants Redick gone.
Redick gone.
He's gone. Done.
Put anybody else there.
See, you can't win with the guy.
All right, J.J. Redick was the color analyst on the NBA Finals. He's obviously thought of as the number one talker.
That's wonderful. I don't think of him as that way.
ESPN doesn't agree with you.
Well,
Did not
that's
agree.
fine.
With you. They put him next to Doris Burke in the finals out of nowhere.
It was really Doc Rivers, and then they had to scramble because Doc took the Bucks job. But
JJ was the number 2.
I mean, JJ was getting a lot of love from ESPN. He was on their network all the time. By the way,
how do you think that booth did?
Well, listen, I'm not blaming JJ. I'm not blaming Doris. That was... It was just not.
You're not blaming Breen either.
You can't ignore that JJ was very, very popular as a broadcaster. That podcast did well. What if it works in LA and it's after he retires, it's the old man in the three-peat?
I'm still not listening, and it's still going to bother me.
How did you not get a job writing on one of these awful sitcoms?
How can anyone not acknowledge that dad joke and just go right to the content?
Okay, so we're obviously a radio show, so this is an audio product, so I'm going to try to describe this the best I can. I just went to the announcement of JJ saying that he's not going to do the podcast anymore. What is going on with his face in this clip? Is this a filter? What's going on? Do you notice this? It's like his airbrushed. He has no features.
Oh, I just saw the marine layer hoodie and the backwards hat. It's like and the nice wall behind him. Like that's rich California living.
Yeah, that marine layer sweatshirt will cost you $250
easy.
I love that store, marine layer. I can't even walk in there. That's
okay.
Sales are like, that's still too expensive.
I'm actually watching this. Are you sure that's JJ Redick?
It is.
It is.
He looks way different.
Thank you. It's like, do you have to go there and get the Rob Pelinka Botox special the moment you sign your W-2?
Apparently.
He's already Hollywood.
I didn't even recognize him. I thought that was Tommy. I didn't know what you were talking about.
It looks like an AI version or something. It's like some kind of avatar.
It looks very off.
Exactly. So we're already off to this weird foot. Like, look at him this is the next clip. He looks like a regular person.
Is he just clean shaven? Is that the only difference?
There's a filter on it or something. Hollywood's already gone to his head.
But can we go
someone
back?
Who played for the Clippers for like 6 years, right?
But back to my original point. This is good news for Pete. And he's angry still.
I'm not angry. I'm
three-peat.
Old man, three-peat. Thank you, Manny.
You know who owns? Isn't three-peat copyrighted by
Riley?
Pat
he tried
Riley.
to, I think.
I think he owns
did that
it.
succeed?
another guy.
This is just Pete's vendetta list.
Did Riley ever?
I think he did.
He three-peated with
The Showtime Lakers.
He did?
I think he
I don't think
created
so.
three-peat, saying
trying
trying
with
to.
Miami.
No, I thought with the Lakers.
It was at the Lakers.
Going for the three-peat. No one ever said that before.
Is that why?
It's a registered trademark owned by Pat Riley, the Lakers coach from 81 to 90.
Get lost. And they definitely did three-peat, right? Because obviously the Celtics jumped in there a couple times.
Yeah, but when they won the second one, they did win back-to-back, and he said we're going for the three-peat. And I think that's like, whoa, that's a creation.
He should trademark faxing a resignation.
Still holding on to that, huh?
Oh, you damn right I am.
Wait, as the Jets head coach?
That was written on a cocktail napkin.
No, Belichick trademarked writing on a napkin there, his resignation.
Oh, man. So good.
Meanwhile, immediate regret in Philadelphia over the Sixers using the 16th pick on Duke guard Jared McCain. He did score 15 points but missed all 6 threes he took last night in Salt Lake City. Philly did manage to still outscore OKC 102-92 in Summer League action. The Texas Rangers flexing their muscles last night in Anaheim.
0-1. Langford hits one high and deep to left field. That one is not coming back. Pilar looks, it's out of here. That one clears both bullpens in straightaway left field. Wow. A 2-run home run for Wyatt Langford. And the Rangers' lead grows to 9-3.
That's from Rangers Radio. That one went 409. Corey Seager's 2-run blast in the first went 457. Texas winning 9-4 over the Angels for a 4-game win streak. Seager's on a 13-game hit streak. The Braves left standing after 11 in Arizona, 5-4. They've won 3 in a row. And the Tigers topped the Guardians 1-0. That 1 run off an error, bottom 8. It's an 8-game suspension for Steelers cornerback Cameron Sutton. He turned himself into police in late March on a domestic violence allegation. He is now in pretrial diversion program. Pittsburgh signed Sutton during all of this after the Lions released him. Free agent safety Tayshaun Gibson apologizing for a 6-game PED suspension. Says he wants to play this season. Gibson says he took a supplement once thinking it was safe. It was not. It was not something, he says, that would have boosted his performance or his body.
And that
the
always
unluckiest
sells.
guy in the world.
That always sells really well.
And the NFL has reportedly licensed its logos and brands to a company for online mobile slot machines. The two already had a deal for physical slot machines. So the NFL and gambling, the love affair continues.
Wait, so you can have a Bills slot machine that plays shout when you win $500?
Maybe you just thought of something, Maggie.
Or I'll be getting in the car to go to Turning Stone right after this. Interesting.
Who needs Seneca Casino when you have a couple of slots right there?
I can see Maggie right now and other grandmas just at the machines with her little card taped to her lapel in the machine, just ringing it, hoping for
Come on, Josh
3
Allen.
Josh Allen 17s.
I was about to say something. I would have given away way too much personal information about myself.
You already did that?
Maybe.
Come on, Maggie. Say you will.
You know how many weddings I've been to where this plays? This version.
Infinity.
Not my own, though. I know.
What?
I know. Didn't play it at my own wedding.
Why not? Too classy?
Are we, though? No,
Yeah, I
I'm
don't
definitely
know.
not too classy.
Did you make a choice not to play it, or just didn't play? Like, did you
It didn't
say
play.
do not play this?
I didn't say do not play it. It just didn't.
Okay.
There is a certain song that played at my wedding. You guys might know it. I had my own set of lyrics for it.
Oh, you played
The
that at
Laverne
your
and Shirley
wedding?
song?
No.
I don't know if we
Was it
have
the
them.
Knicks 94? Go New York, go New York, go.
Go New York, go New York, go.
Did you play Clap Your Hands? You played this at your wedding?
I cannot stand this song. Stupid song.
No, I didn't, but I wish I did. Dr. J, everybody, Maurice Cheeks, and Bobby Jones. Here comes
It's already
Allen
about the
Iverson,
Sixers. Why?
Keith Van Horn,
Keith
Aaron
Van Horn.
McKee, Eric Snow, Dikembe Mutombo, The Process, and all those guys.
Michael Carter-Williams.
Why we trade Drew Holiday?
And Jimmy Butler.
It's Tobias Harris.
By the way,
Enjoy Paul George.
stayed up late watching Summer League last night. The TikTok star the Sixers drafted out of Duke. There is no human being that Pete Bellotti will hate more as he watches. But also, dude, I don't know why they bothered drafting that kid. He has no chance of contributing. Based on one Summer League game, I'm out. What's his name? Jared McCain?
Yeah.
He was so average. Oh, my God. I'm like, go back to
Literally
TikTok,
did
dude.
this 90 seconds ago.
What are you doing?
I just thought it was amazing in the draft coverage when he was drafted, and instead of playing his highlights from Duke, it was just him dancing on some TikTok. I'm like, oh, Philly's going to hate this guy.
Oh, yeah. He's just...
He's going to get stabbed on the street for the good of the
He's
franchise.
not particularly big, fast, strong. I'm not sure what he does well exactly. I'm not sure what he's doing there other
Got
than
a
a TikTok.
great smile.
He is fascinating. I mean, I like the TikTok, but yeah. Anyway, and he's a Dookie. That is always endearing.
Well, Elton Brand's running the team, sort of.
Oh, yeah. That's probably why.
Anyway.
Yeah, Bogusch, but where are the Summer League updates? Give me...
You just got one about Jared McCain.
He just did it.
You did? I wasn't even listening to
Yeah,
that.
I know. Again.
It's kind of a running theme.
It's a pretty good show, Perloff. You should listen to it.
And it hurts the same amount. I'm not used to it at all. I
Old
am
man
yet to be numb to
three-peat.
this.
It's it's going to be great when you two are trapped in a car together driving to San Antonio and you can rehash all this stuff. When Bogusch is like, take the exit, and then 10 miles later, Perloff's like, we should have taken that exit.
You know what I was like?
Why didn't anybody tell me?
So I apologize. I was telling Pete to cue up the Sixers song when you were talking.
Nope.
Don't accept it.
Play it again, Pete.
No, please don't. We have to go to break. 855-212.
Jared McCain.
Fizz and Fuzz Incorporated. We're going to do it all
Fizz and Fuzz.
I can't believe I'm actually really impressed that you guys know the name of the company in the Laverne and Shirley song. What is it?
Hasenpfeffer. You didn't,
What is
but you didn't
that?
know Schlemiel or Schlemazel. That's just like a term.
Schlemiel, Schlemazel.
Yeah.
Fizz and Buzz Incorporated. Fizz and Buzz Incorporated. We're going to do. What is Hasenpfeffer? I don't even know
The
what.
beer company.
What's Fizz and
The
Fuzz?
beer, is it a real beer company?
No, it's supposed to be like Milwaukee's best or something, probably. It takes place in Wisconsin, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I've never even seen the show, and I know this.
Fizz and Fuzz
from Wayne's
Incorporated
World.
sounds like a beer on The Simpsons.
Fizz and Fuzz sounds like a weed I would smoke on that 70s show.
You and Topher Grace light up the Fizz
I'm
and
Fizz,
Fuzz.
he's Fuzz.
Can AI
Fizz
create?
Buzz Incorporated.
Can AI create scenes from that 70s show with Andrew Bogusch?
Every time in the circle.
I mean, yeah, around the circle.
It's
right,
like Ashton
exactly.
Kutcher, and then it's
God.
Bogusch.
It's just, I need to see this now.
All right, coming up, we've got details on one of the biggest stories in sports for you. We do it next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. 1 minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie Perloff. We will update the poll results on the first region of the Sitcom Bracket, which we released earlier this morning. This is the Seinfeld region. We'll release one region a day till the end of the week. Mike is in California, wants to weigh in on the controversy that is spawned from this region being released, and it's about Saved by the Bell. Good morning, Mike.
Hey, guys. How you doing?
It's been so long. How you been?
I've been good. I catch you guys in the morning still, but it's always kind of hard to call in a lot. So
I understand. Thanks for getting up early with us. The big controversy, where do you fall? Is Saved by the Bell a sitcom?
Saved by the Bell is absolutely not a sitcom.
Take us through your logic.
Okay. Sitcoms were designed to take the place of old radio shows that families would listen to in the evenings. And that is why they had to be kept so kid-friendly and were heavily censored all the way up until the 70s and 80s, which is why the adults in Bewitched and all these other shows always had to sleep in separate beds, or they had to have one foot on the floor. They were designed to be family-friendly as a whole and to be watched in the evening times, not in the middle of a Saturday morning. And it had to be designed for the entire family, even though there may be adult humor to it, or it could be primarily for adults, but children could still watch it. It had to be kept clean for them. It was never designed to be for child entertainment or juvenile entertainment.
Okay, got it. So the fact that Saved by the Bell is just for kids would take it out of the running. But here's a question. So we had a thought. Someone said in the chat that, shows that got really popular in syndication, like the Brady Bunch, which was not as popular on first air, but really popular in syndication. That's on any time of the day.
So if you go back and watch when they first came out, though, those were always in the evenings. They always aired between 6:30 and 7 and 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, or 8 o'clock.
Right.
Because that was when families were supposed to do it together. But if you go back and you watch things like Bewitched and even Brady Bunch and some of those, there is adult humor hidden in those. It's for adults. You can tell it's designed for adults to catch and not for kids. Now, it's very much dated now.
Right.
But even if you watch The Simpsons is quote-unquote kid-friendly, but there's a ton of adult humor hidden inside of there. But if you go back and watch the Brady Bunch stuff between Alice and her boyfriend Sam and all that kind of stuff, there was always underlying tones of adult humor that took place, but it was still kid-friendly.
So, Mike, with all that happening, is that why people talk about Mary Tyler Moore and All in the Family, such sort of revolutionary shows? I mean, I read about them, and it's like now they seem somewhat tame, but back then I think they were really different.
Well, a perfect example of one of the ones you guys left off was Three's Company. If you look back, Three's Company and Too Close for Comfort came out after Laverne and Shirley and Happy Days because it was so risque that the censorships would not allow them to air it before 9 o'clock.
Wow.
Because they were afraid kids would watch the introduction and all that stuff. So therefore, if you go even further back, they weren't even allowed to advertise it except for after 9 o'clock as well.
Wow.
Man, interesting. Now you have to wait till I think after 10 o'clock before you can just start dropping curse words. Not on the big three networks. But,
do you remember, when NYPD Blue showed a guy's butt and it was like a huge deal?
I do remember that. We've come a long way. All right, Mike. Well, it's a good argument whether or not Saved by the Bell is a sitcom. Thank you so much for weighing in. Great to talk to you, Mike. You've been cooking anything good lately?
Yeah, I did a bunch on 4th of July weekend. I did dinosaur beef ribs, baby back ribs, burnt-in pork belly burnt-ins. I did brisket burnt-ins for hoagies and sandwiches. I've been experimenting with something called a shotgun shell, which is rigatoni shell stuffed with manicotti cheese, pulled pork, and then wrapped in bacon and smoked.
Whoa.
And then for Perloff will love this one. After the leftover meat from the beef ribs and the brisket, I chopped all that up and made a red wine chili out of it.
Love it, dude.
You are a big chili guy.
Love chili.
All seasons. Mike, thank you. Now our mouth is watering. Appreciate that. Great to hear from you, pal. Mike's a resident chef. Used to put recipes and stuff up on the Maggie Perloff Facebook page when we were in the afternoon.
So while you were on vacation, Maggie, you might have missed this, but there was quite an adult show that was unveiled and caused quite the stir over the weekend. I don't know. There was a new Lifetime movie. Did you guys hear about this or see it?
Wait, new Lifetime movie
The new
beyond the
Lifetime
Kansas
movie
City Chiefs?
that went viral. I don't know if anyone watched it, but everybody was talking about it. It is called The Amish Affair.
What?
It is. It took over my timeline this weekend, the July 4th weekend. Basically, these two Amish people and this. It's a long story, but one second you see her in an Amish outfit, the next she's in a bikini straddling a guy.
Oh
it is
my
the
gosh.
craziest promo you've ever seen. The Amish Affair Lifetime. So my point is, you can go a long way now and show things on real TV.
Tastes are changed. Are they in some kind of Christmas tree farm? Doesn't every Lifetime movie have to be on Christmas?
I have to tell you, watch a trailer. You'll be awed.
All right, coming up, we've got results for you from the Sitcom Bracket. Who moves on to the next round? We'll tell you.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. 1 minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Controversy, brewing, swirling, right here at our doorstep. Welcome to the Maggie and Perloff Show. We've got NFL to talk about, and don't worry, we will get to that because training camp just around the corner. We're going to go through one division each day, give you our thoughts on the outlook for that division. We're doing the NFC West today. We also revealed the first region of our sitcom bracket. We, along with your help, it's actually you, who get to determine the greatest sitcom of all time. We've come up with the bracket of 64. You get to vote. We're doing one region at a time, and we do have some early poll results. Now, the polls are not closed, but we do have early poll results on who is leading and who is trailing, just in case you need to know kind of where to put your vote, which you could do at Maggie and Pearl on X. So, Manny, you want to go ahead and give us some updates here?
Yeah, sure. I just go ahead and refresh. Here we go. Seinfeld currently leads 16 seed Living Single, and it's not very close, 94% to 6%. That's the 116 seed. The 8 seed King of Queens currently holds a 72.5% lead on the Munsters, who's the 9 seed, 27.5%.
I'm surprised.
Is the vote for the Munsters. Moving on, we got a good one between the 5 and 12, because of course we do. That 70s show, the 5 seed, has a 51.6% lead on Saved by the Bell, 48.4%.
And let's pause on that for a second, because this has become the controversy of the day, Perloff, whether or not Saved by the Bell is a sitcom.
I think there are a lot of Saved by the Bell fans out there, but I think there are a lot of people, it's not that they hate the show, they just don't think it belongs here.
Right. I mean, if you go to the definition of the sitcom, there's a couple different definitions. We had Mike in California who said because it was on in the morning, not at nighttime, it can't be a sitcom. However, in syndication, things run all different times of the day, and that has added to their popularity. This is a tough one. Okay, continue on.
We move on with the 4 and 13 seeds as the Brady Bunch, the 4 seed, 53.7 over Sanford and Son, 46.3%. 30 Rock against the Bernie Mac show, and it's 30 Rock leading the way handsomely, 70 to 30%. The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air holds a 62.8% lead on Schitt's Creek, 37.2%. That's the 314 seed. How I Met Your Mother currently running away with the lead against Bewitched at 72% to 28%. And finally, I Love Lucy, also much to the happiness of Pete over here, leading Beverly Hillbillies 73.7% to 26.3%.
You know, I think we need to make a distinction, because there's obviously two Bewitched. There's the one with Darren York and the other guy. And people are pointing out, someone just tweeted me, there's two and a half men Where obviously, when we get to that, that's the Charlie Sheen version. So I think it's funny. I love when they just replace a character and hope nobody notices.
Is that versus the John Cryer? Was that who it was?
No. When Ashton Kutcher eventually came on.
Ashton Kutcher.
Yeah, John Cryer was a constant.
Well, you had two Ann Vivs with Fresh Prince.
Yes, I think that's one of the funniest things when a sitcom just like subtly moves one character out, one actor out and puts in a new actor. There's probably 10 examples of that.
And you actually had a new Harriet on Family Matters.
Did you have a new Harriet?
The last season.
No way.
And they just pretended it was the old person?
Yep.
They're doing that right now, but just as a side note, with a kid show that my kid watches. Is anyone here familiar with Blippi?
Oh, yes, they have a fake Blippi.
They have fake Blippi, and they also have Mika, his friend.
Yes, fake Mika.
And they got fake Mika, too. And my kid watch them back to back. Yeah, it's not Zabinajad. Watch him back to back, and he's 5, and I'm like, I wonder if he notices.
I noticed, and I can't watch it.
I definitely my favorites. But meanwhile, you can go to @Maggie and Pearl, and you can vote. This is just one region, so we'll reveal another region tomorrow, and then we will take your snubs. It's already been out there. Three's Company did not make it into the bracket of 64.
It is one of the 1 seeds in the BIT tournament.
Yeah, that's
BIT bracket.
The Bilotti Invitational. He started a rogue bracket, much like the Live Golf Tour. I don't know if you have the money behind it, but
no.
a little more bootstraps situation.
Mom and pop shop right here.
And the Live Tour. Okay, so there you go. You can go to @Maggie and Pearl and vote. You can also weigh in on whether or not Saved by the Bell is a sitcom at 855-212-4227. We return to the NFC West, Perloff, because that's what we're doing, going through each of these divisions one by one. How many playoff teams do you think are coming from the NFC West this season?
Okay, I'm sorry. I wasn't prepared for this question. Definitely San Francisco. I feel really good about that. So now we have the Seahawks and the Rams in competition for a wild card
Or
spot.
maybe Arizona. There's always a worst to first.
Well, technically,
They won't
maybe
be
in the sense that every team has a shot at the playoffs. Now, I would be really surprised if the Cardinals and my man, Jonathan Gannon, turn around this fast. So you got the Eagles and the Cowboys NFC East. You got 3 NFC North teams, maybe 4, competing for the playoffs. You got 1 NFC South. I'm going to go... God, this is going to be really tough. It's going to come down to the last game to the Seahawks, Rams. I will go Rams, make a wild card.
Okay. I'm going to probably go with the Seahawks here. I'm a little dubious on the Rams. Watch, they'll go win the Super Bowl. I'm a little dubious on the Rams. Matthew Stafford's health being the number one thing. And I know last year he ended the season well. That was a great game against the Detroit Lions in the playoffs, and a feel-good story for sure. But he's not that far removed from maybe dealing with some pretty serious back issues. And obviously a guy who's in his mid-30s. So I would maybe give the nod to the Seahawks because I'm just not sure Stafford's going to hang on. Who's the backup?
Jimmy G, baby.
Oh, right.
Remember they had Carson Wentz last year, and now they're going to Jimmy G. Obviously, the big loss. It's hard to imagine this team without Aaron Donald, but GM Les Snead is a monster of a drafter.
Well, Jared Verse was fantastic at Florida State. We watched him.
Did you see all those things, by the way, about the Rams that they tried to trade up for all different kinds of players? I think they wanted Brock Bowers. They wanted a bunch of guys, and they sort of got stuck with Jared Verse, but I think that's great. And they drafted his line mate, Braden Fisk.
Yep.
Remember last year, they get Kobe Turner, who's awesome. So they're a really good drafting team. I agree the health feels a little dicey because of Stafford and Kupp, but they're a very talented team. Seahawks are right there. It feels like those NFC West, it always comes out of week 17 or week 18. There's a win and you're in NFC West game.
Can I just make one claim, though, about the Arizona Cardinals, who are definitely going to be probably the more forgotten team in this division right now.
Right.
But there is a world when Kyler Murray is healthy, he is so fun to watch. So with Maserati Marv now, which I know is your favorite nickname, there's a pot, and they're not a total disaster with Gannon, which I think a lot of people in Philadelphia thought they were going to be. When he left, there'd be the defensive coordinator from the Eagles to go take over this job. There is like an exciting element to Kyler Murray's game that makes the Cardinals at times like a very fun and watchable product. And now with Maserati Marv, I think it's going to be they're going to give us some major highlights. I don't know how many games they're going to win. They won 4 games last year. So do you win 6, maybe 7? But there is like a fun aspect to the Cardinals that I think we're discounting here.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I think the question, are they a bottom 5 team? Are they in They in a quarterback draft mode next year.
I don't think they're going to be that bad.
I mean, I'm curious what Vegas says on that. What are they? Do you really think can you name off the top of your head like 5 to 10 teams that are worse than them? They're in that conversation.
They might be, but remember the quarterback situation last year was like so crazy that if you have Kyler for a full season, pardon me, I mean, let's not forget the guy is super talented. I mean, he's got a rocket for an arm.
Would you put him in your top 12 quarterbacks? I mean, without having to put like. I don't know. I'm much more dubious. I kind of like him, but
low right now. It's like the video games thing and the homework clause and how the contract stuff went down. Like there was just been a lot more negative headlines with positive. He's the kind of guy who, when you start watching him play, you remember like, oh yeah, this is why he was the number 1 overall pick.
So he's never hit 4,000 yards, and his high in 5 seasons is 26 touchdowns. So he's never had the stats. I mean, listen. You have to design an offense around him. Like you're not going to have any quick throws. He's got to drop way back to see the field.
Well, that's always short quarterbacks.
Yeah, that's the issue. It hasn't really all taken hold yet. I like your excitement about them. I think that's cool. You're right. It'd be super fun if they did. It's just I think you got to give Jonathan Gannon a big window here. Say they're 5-11 this year, 5-12. I would think Gannon would be on the hot seat, but I think that's totally unfair.
Well, that's also because that ownership group is a total disaster.
By the way, the Seahawks and Rams do play in Week 18, and that will be for a wild card spot.
I agree
Might
with
as
you.
well just fast forward to that, which for the Seahawks would be above their win total. I think Mike McDonald's going to be a good coach there. I think it's going to be really interesting. San Francisco's got a brutal schedule, though. They could lose home field easily here. That's going to be a lot harder to get. They have pretty much the worst possible schedule.
Well, but the funny thing about San Francisco is they're also favored in every single game, famously, because
they're loaded.
They get Kansas City at home. I mean, is this that bad of a schedule?
I mean, I don't see. I pulled up this morning. It can't get much worse.
Jets, your home Jets.
That's not a fun. So you get a healthy Aaron Rodgers in that defense. That's no way to start.
Okay, but again, you're at home for this one. Then you're at Minnesota. At the Rams is always tough.
Yeah.
You get New England and Arizona.
Great.
At Seattle, you get Kansas City and Dallas at home. You destroy Dallas. Then you're into your bye. At Tampa,
that's not super fun.
Off the bye, though. Like, you have to travel, but you're coming off the bye week. Then you get Seattle. Then you're at Green Bay at Buffalo. Okay, so that's a little dicey, but they're still favored in those games. Chicago, we'll see what, if Caleb Williams has hit a rookie wall at that by December 8th. Rams again, you're at Miami. Detroit, at Arizona.
So Warren Sharp, the NFL analyst, does a true strength of schedule where he looks at the Vegas odds.
Yeah.
And I think the fact that you have basically, you're right, the home away splits are good, but you got Green Bay on here, you got at Buffalo, you have Detroit, Kansas City. I mean, who's not on there? This is a who's who of great teams in the NFL. It is a pure first place schedule. So, and also you mentioned, you had a really good point. The new coaching staff in Seattle could pose some problems there.
Well, you're basically, they hired a guy who, I don't know what the other great qualities I'm sure that Mike McDonald has as far as leadership and stuff like that. But the reason why you hired him, I think, in Seattle is because when he was with the Ravens, they were awesome against San Francisco. And I think they finally needed somebody who was going to stop the San Francisco offense. And they feel like McDonald is the guy, with his simulated pressure and all this stuff, that he's the guy to do it.
Absolutely. But I'm looking at the top 10 teams in odds, and they have basically all of them except for one. So, I'm sorry, two. But they don't have Baltimore and Cincinnati, but pretty much everybody else is coming to San Francisco. I still think they're so good that if they stay healthy, Maggie, okay, you start off the show by saying you don't think the Niners are going back, too much scar tissue.
Back to the Super Bowl, yeah.
If I could give you a scenario where they stay fully healthy, would that change your mind?
They've been pretty much healthy, and they've gotten so far, and I think it's the unforced errors, the self-inflicted stuff. I mean, they should have won that Super Bowl. They should have won last year's Super Bowl. You got the ball first in overtime. Go score.
You're in overtime against Patrick Mahomes. It's not like a layup.
I know, but Mahomes doesn't touch the ball if you take care of business.
I know. And they were just one play away, and they missed a block on Chris Jones. Like, believe me, I understand the scar tissue, but you were going against a great team. I don't necessarily kill them and say that they blew such an opportunity. They were going against Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. It was a tough game.
Perloff, they blew the opportunity. I mean, that's it. And it's happened twice now.
Which was a bigger blown lead. 19 they were up 10 in the fourth quarter.
Well, that was, but you had a worse. I mean,
that was definitely the bigger disappointment in a sense.
But this was a better team. This San Francisco team last year was like one of the wire-to-wire great teams.
Yeah, and then Jimmy G got hurt in the playoffs, and then, of course, Brock Purdy's elbow almost fell off in the middle of a game.
Well, that one, that was against your Eagles. That was terrible.
That was also a very good Niners team, but I'm not even sure how we got here. It just feels like, yes, you're right, like scar tissue builds up, but they seem to keep coming back.
Sorry, I should have mentioned, even if they had scored a touchdown, Kansas City still would have gotten the ball, those new overtime rules,
right.
But at least it would have been then either tied or I guess you're going for two, I don't know, something like that, as opposed to you kick a field goal and they come down and score and the game's over.
Yeah.
Which is what happened.
I understand what you're saying. I mean, listen, there's so much they could have done differently in the first Kansas City Super Bowl. Like that one, I mean, Emmanuel Sanders, it's just, just thrown 4 yards less. And then there's a touchdown. You could go to 1, 2, or 3 plays that have determined everything here.
And you wonder why I say the scar tissue's built up. Like,
well, yeah,
you're
but they
talking
keep on
about
coming
5
back
years
and
ago,
back
like it
and
just
back.
happened.
And then they got injured the next year, and then they came back, and they came back, and they came back. So the scar tissue's not killing them. You got to give them some resiliency credit.
They do have resiliency credit, but how long do these windows stay open if you don't capitalize on it? Like, you're only going to get so many shots here.
You might get 5 or 6 more. I mean, you get Kyle Shanahan's a very young man. Brock Purdy's a third-year quarterback.
So you think
Nick
they're the next
Bosa's-
Patriots or something? Like,
I think
minus not the Super Bowl wins, but in terms of, like, staying power?
Yeah, I think they're going to be in the deep playoff contention, much like Andy Reid was in Philly. Now, Andy Reid didn't win, but he made 5 conference title games and a Super Bowl. I think they're going to be around. Yeah, why would they go anywhere in the next 6 or 7 years? Like, why would they fall off? They might not win a Super Bowl, but what's to stop Kyle Shanahan from keeping this machine going? Nothing.
Well, 855-212-4227. We never see the fall when we're in it, right? You know? And these things are hard to sustain. That's just the bottom line. And they may have gotten a second life here with Purdy because he's so young and cheap right now and all of that, but you're already seeing some questions and certain cracks.
Well, Andy Reid did it in Philly for about 11 years. They stayed as a playoff contender. I think you're looking at that kind of run. Especially, I mean, Nick Bosa is so good. Like, if you have Bosa, how bad can you be?
855-212-4227. So have a little NFC West. You also have the Sitcom Bracket, which you, again, can go vote at Maggie and Pearl. The Seinfeld region is now live. Go. Make your voice be heard. And the question is, Saved by the Bell, a sitcom, is what has become the controversy today. Coming up, we missed this yesterday, so we're going to bring the M&P 500, whose stock is up, whose stock is down, and we'll do that next. Maggie Perloff.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 3 minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
The M&P 500 on the Infinity Sports Network.
This portion of the show is brought to you by Ethos Life, the easy way to get life insurance in 10 minutes, up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam and just a few health questions. Get your free quote at checkethos.com. Not available in all states. M&P 500. Maggie, so usually we do it Mondays. Coming off the long weekend with the 4th, we decided to do it today. Why don't you start? M&P 500, stock up, stock down.
Okay, I'm going to go stock up here, and it's going to be on Cooper Flagg because this dude's going to become a household name. He already is known around basketball circles, but this is the next great American player, so we think, and he's from Maine, of all places. It's ridiculous. So he's about to go to Duke, and he's at the, training with Team USA right now before they ship off to Paris, and apparently he's, smoking guys in a scrimmage. So Cooper Flagg is my stock up. This guy's getting a lot of shine.
I don't know if there's any. Apparently, I saw the clip on social media. Dude drained a three-pointer in front of Anthony Davis. He's one of those guys who's now getting famous off 2 plays on the internet.
What could go wrong?
So,
He'll be my stock down in a week,
exactly.
I'm sure.
That's kind of like how I basically judge Zion Williamson based on a dunk contest from when he was 15 years old. Okay. I'm desperate. I've been, as you know, I've become low-key obsessed with Wimbledon. I don't know why. I'm desperate to see an American succeed there. Desperate, Maggie.
Does this have anything to do with your DraftKings account?
No. Oh, no. I don't bet Wimbledon. I assume it's all fixed.
Oh.
No, I should start betting it. So my I love the American team. Love Ben Shelton. Was so into him, but he got destroyed by Yannick Sinner, who's the best player on earth. So I'm going to go all in, stock up Taylor Fritz, who is not only advancing in Wimbledon, but he's talking all kinds of trash. He's telling the world America is back. He is definitely, I think he's kind of the face of American tennis right now. I'm not sure who else that would be. But Ben Shelton's my favorite player, but Taylor Fritz is my stock up because he's actually still alive in Wimbledon.
All right. Well, if we're going to have to stock up, we're going to stock down. And I was just a little surprised that this necessitated an announcement. Here's John Cena.
Tonight, I officially announce my retirement from the WWE.
I love Cena. Don't we all love Cena? But do you really need the retirement announcement when we know that wrestlers never retire? There's no way this is true. There's no way that the last match he wrestles is going to be WrestleMania 2025. I just don't believe that. I've watched enough wrestling to know these guys always come back. Ric Flair came back. Was he like 70? I mean, they all come back.
Didn't somebody die?
Did John Cena leave already, like years ago? I actually surprised to be ignorant, but hasn't he been like, how do you put out 4 movies a year and still be a pro wrestler?
From full time, yes. He's been removed from full time for at least 5 years or so.
Didn't The Undertaker die like 4 or 5 times too?
Yes, and he's still back.
Wow,
I don't get it.
That's a special case.
It doesn't make sense. Did he die? Yes or no? Is he in a box 6 feet under? Yes or no?
I mean, you can't say The Rock is still an active wrestler, can you? I mean, yes.
We were in Las Vegas and saw him at the press conference, and we went to WrestleMania. We were dressed as wrestlers, and we saw him.
I know, but here's a question to your point. Like, does dropping in occasionally make you an active wrestler? Like, John Cena, I don't buy this retirement because he's not really an active wrestler. I'm sorry. I'm with Manny. I'm calling this out. Bogusch, what are you laughing at?
I just there's no way to address this without being mean and angering Pete.
Well, yeah, no, because he has something against wrestling, so he's always going to have a negative.
Yeah, it's like logic I have against wrestling.
Yeah.
Like, but honestly, because like in sports, which we deal with usually, like you have to you have to put in retirement paperwork because it matters. Because like it like stops your career, it changes your benefits, it makes you then eligible for the Hall of Fame waiting period. There's a reason to do it. Is there an actual technical reason for John Cena to say, I'm retiring?
Yes, to make money on a retirement tour that they're going to run all of 2025.
So that's not my answer.
Yeah. No,
to sell
merchandise.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's like a band retiring.
Okay. It's marketing. They're going to sell a bunch of stuff. They're going to sell a bunch of tickets on his dates that he's going to work in 202025.
The last time is now
2025.
Yeah.
Is that why Billy Joel is doing his last Madison Square Garden?
Over and over again.
Yes. Right. I mean, like, you're right. Band retirements are the dumbest thing that ever existed.
Yeah, like the Rolling Stones. I mean, Elton John.
They will not use the word retirement. But yeah. Elton John did a final concert, didn't he? At Dodger Stadium?
And then what happened?
For now.
Dead & Company did this too. This is the last time you're ever going to see the Grateful Dead until they come back and play at the Sphere.
I find it interesting when actors retire. Like Gene Hackman really retired and disappeared. Now he's quite old. Anthony Hopkins
But
retired.
you're just not working.
But that's the funny thing. They came back. No, but Gene Hackman
Anthony Hopkins was in something
he's come back like
recently.
6 times.
It's silly.
Yeah,
so that's why it's my stock down.
Yeah. Okay. My stock down is going to be Bobby Hurley. He finalized 6 years, $50 million with UConn. That's all you get?
Dan Hurley.
Danny Hurley. Bobby Hurley, sorry. Yeah, Bobby Hurley, too, for his...
for not being Dan.
Yeah, for not being Danny.
Who saw that coming?
Yeah. Listen, Grant Hill was open on the wing back in 1992. But Bobby Hurley should get 6 years, $50 million. Why is Danny Hurley getting 6 years, $50 million? That's it? Like 6 years, $50 million. That's what I get here working in Infinity Sports Radio Network. That's all you get to be the best coach in college basketball. You turn down 6 years, $70 million for the Lakers, and everyone's laughing at how cheap the Lakers are. Then you take $20 million less to go to UConn, which is also a high tax state. This makes no sense to me. Mel Tucker got $10 million a year to coach at Colorado, and he was not good. How can you not make more?
Then what happened?
Yeah, you can. I mean, how can you not make more? Or sorry, $10 million in Michigan State.
Yeah.
How can you not make more if you're Danny Hurley or Bobby Hurley or any?
You thought
Hurley?
he was getting Jimbo Fisher money?
I just think that this is a bargain. Like, I know his wife loves stores, but Doesn't this seem? Am I the only one? This seems incredibly small.
Well, does it feel like now maybe he should have taken the Laker job if that was actually $70 million?
But we've done the math on that, right? And he would have made like $30 million.
Yeah,
in LA.
it would have been. But I'll bet you he gets an offer of say 5 years, $100 million easily next year. Like I think he becomes the highest paid NBA coach next summer. So why? It just seems thin, right? 6 years, 50 for a coach. Is that a big deal?
Well, I mean, I think a lot of the high-priced coaches have left the sport recently, and like Boeheim and Coach K and Roy Williams and those guys.
I mean, he clearly should be the number one paid college basketball coach. There's no excuse. I don't care. Give me Calipari, Bill Self, whatever. I don't care. Like Hurley should be the number one paid coach. He just won 2 titles.
Is he not the number one?
No, he's not even. No, Self and Calipari are ahead of him.
Goes to show what
I don't know.
what's going on with college hoops. I don't
in
know.
other words, he'll be gone. He's definitely coming to the NBA.
Well, he already said there's a number and that the Lakers didn't reach it. Maybe he's waiting out. He's holding out for the Knicks job.
Yeah, East Coast job. Knicks, Sixers.
I think the Knicks job's pretty safe. Those guys, they just extended. Thibodeau's a pretty good coach.
Yeah, but there's an expiration date on him always.
Let's hope not.
No, but you'll still have the same players.
Yeah, you'll get sick of them. Don't worry.
And they will too.
That's your stock up, stock down. Apparently $50 million, not enough for Perloff. If you were Danny Hurley's agent, you'd be besides yourself.
He'd probably be 6 years, $50 million would have been like 18th or something in the NBA. Like he should be the highest paid coach of the NBA.
But he got
it's going to happen.
An $18 million raise in 1 year because he had a meeting with the Lakers.
Maybe I've been reading too many other like player contract things. Like 6 years, $50 million. That's like a fourth string 2 guard in the NBA.
Well, you can't look at the NBA contracts.
That's Bronny money.
Yeah, it's 2 for $9 money. Quickly, let's hit the phones. Jaden's in Harrisburg wants to weigh in on our sitcom bracket controversy today, which is Saved by the Bell a sitcom? It made it into our field of 64. What's up, Jaden?
Hey, how y'all doing?
Good.
I personally do consider it a sitcom. I think that any of those shows with like the laugh track behind it are like sitcom type shows. I know Saved by the Bell is a little iffy because like they're always trying to teach you a lesson. They're not necessarily like outright let's be funny. But I think there are a lot of shows like that. Like Brady Bunch is another show like that that's always trying to teach you a lesson, but it made it. One that I'm not seeing though, did Full House not make the cut?
Well, I'm glad you brought that up. Now, we've only revealed 1/4 of the bracket, but if I can spoil it for you, no, Full House did not make the bracket.
Wow, okay. I mean, I'm not like a Full House lover or anything, so I'm not going to like, cancel y'all or anything like that. But
I'm not an Olsen twin.
It didn't make the list because, again, it's like, was it good?
I don't know. I was born in 2000.
What?
I'm sorry. Sorry, what else did you have, Jaden?
I like the 49ers comparison to the Andy Reid Eagles because as I'm an Eagles fan, so this might be a little bit of shade at the Niners. We got a little bit of beef right now.
Yeah.
But I do see them being a good team for a long time. But just like those Andy Reid Eagles, I think that they're perpetually going to be second place. I don't see them winning a championship under Kyle Shanahan.
But why?
They had 2 great opportunities and haven't done it.
Yeah. I mean, the proof is in the pudding. What do you like? How many times are they going to go to the Super Bowl and lose? And we're going like, they might got it. Like at this point, their reputation has to be the guys that make it to the Super Bowl and lose.
I'm with you, Jaden. I'm with you on this one because Andy Reid couldn't do it when he was with the Eagles. They did get to the Super Bowl, lost to the Patriots.
To be fair, Donovan McNabb was throwing the ball to James Thrash. You couldn't pull up
T.O. was
James
there.
Thrash stat if you tried. But I think with the Brandon Ayuk for whatever reason wanting to go to Washington, and Debo's just always pissed off. I don't even know how long the core is going to be around. You might in 3 years you might just have McCaffrey, Purdy, and Bosa.
And honestly, in 3 years with McCaffrey, then you're looking at a 31-year-old running back / slot receiver.
Trying to center the offense through.
Jaden, thank you so much.
Ricky Pearsall will replace that Ayuk in 2 seconds. This is how the NFL works. I can't believe
Then why did they trade him?
I think it's really interesting that the Niners took a first-round wide receiver, and we're not talking about him more. It's crazy. They have Brandon Ayuk, Deebo Samuel, George Kittle, and Christian McCaffrey, and they used their first-round pick on a wide receiver. Like, it just says something that obviously they're moving on from Ayuk, but they are just loaded for bear. They go 3 or 4 deep. He's a good point. Like, the Eagles were not – the high-end Eagles under Andy Reid, they weren't as good as this Niners team, right? I mean, they don't – I think they were okay. Listen, that was my team.
Yeah.
They made all these championship games, but nobody expected them to win all of them. The Niners are a different team, I think.
As far as Full House is concerned, so it did not make it into the.
Here's
Is it
the
any
thing.
good?
Was it good?
Well, so my question is: Full House really any better than Step by Step? And we didn't put Step by Step in, and I don't think that it's any better. Sure, you have the Olsen twins who are iconic. It's how I learned about the Beach Boys. I'm embarrassed to say.
Stames.
And John Stamos, obviously a legend. Saget, Coulier. I get it. We didn't take any pleasure in this, but no, it's not in.
Yeah, I mean, it was an enjoyable show. It doesn't mean it was a good comedy.
Right, it's
It was
not
not a
going
good
to win.
comedy.
It might win the bit, but it might not win.
A lot of invitations. But here's the thing: it's not. So Saved by the Bell was also supposed to be funny, but not funny if you're watching it from an adult standpoint. But it was like a for kids educational kind of show. I think Full House was trying to be funny and they weren't. I don't know.
Yeah, but also like didn't win awards, didn't win a Peabody.
Definitely didn't win a
Was around
Peabody
for a
like the
long
Bernie
time.
Mac show.
Was around for a long time, though.
You know
and
the-
there's a lot of things from that show people still think about today.
You know what's funny about it? I didn't realize doing this sitcom bracket and now looking back over all these sitcoms, Pearl, is how short a lot of these runs are.
Well, that's because I think this is one of the weaker brackets, to be honest. Like, there's a lot more long-time shows than the next bracket. Like, these, I think Brady Bunch is the weaker of the 4 seeds. If you look at across the 4 seeds, like,
No, but even for example, I Love Lucy was 6 seasons. Doesn't that feel like something that would have been on for a lot longer? Fresh Prince was on for 6 seasons.
But the prime, like, think about what was, like, the heyday of sitcoms.
I think the 90s, but probably everyone
Like,
probably 70s or 80s.
I think, like, when you only had 4 networks and these sitcoms were huge, like, those sitcoms lasted a long time. And I think, like, Cheers, Fresh Prince, 6 years is pretty good. I think 6 years is plenty long. But you're saying, I couldn't believe Honeymooners. 1 year?
Yep.
I think it's a different era. That's the other thing, too. You're saying that Saved by the Bell is not funny. I'm telling you, watch Beverly Hillbillies or The Munsters right now. That is not funny in a modern sense. Anyway, so, like, I think we have to put things into context, right? Like, obviously, Seinfeld is a lot funnier than The Munsters, right? Like,
Well,
what are we doing here?
It's a total different time, different sensibility. Like the Dick Van Dyke show
Yes.
is like someone, Dick Van Dyke.
Yes,
like,
yeah. Like,
you
that's
know,
not gonna be-
falling over the ottoman. Like that's just not the slapstick humor that is today. Now it's about
Absolutely.
The Office, like irony and
Yes, yeah.
sarcasm.
Right. So Saved by the Bell, put it into its context. That's what you got to do, right? Step by now. Remind me, what the heck is Step by Step? I feel like I've heard of it.
Patrick Duffy and Suzanne Summers, the merged 2 families.
That's not ringing a
And
bell.
was that at night or was it during the morning?
No, that was a TGI Friday show too.
Yeah, the TGI Friday I totally miss. Anything that was on TGI Friday, I'm just saying does not belong here. These shows are kid shows.
That was Full House, Family Matters, Step
Boy
by
Meets
Step.
World.
No.
Also, not all together, but as part of it.
What network?
ABC.
Boy Meets World was on ABC on Fridays.
Yep.
I thought Perfect Strangers was on
It
there for a
was.
while too.
That was
Yeah.
a part of it too. But
What are these words?
That led to Family Matters.
Yeah.
Huh.
Perfect Strangers was a spin-off to Family Matters.
Perfect Strangers, I remember well.
Yeah.
That did not make the list, right?
Right.
That's a cut.
Not.
Another one in the bit bracket.
It did not make the cut. Bogusch has headlines for us.
And
He
right
does.
on that note, guys, Saved by the Bell might not be a sitcom. This is definitely not. NBA players Dario Saric and Ivica Zubas just played for Croatia this summer in Olympic qualifying. They lost the final to Greece in Athens Sunday, and then went out on the town for one last team dinner and hangout. And then a brawl started. Somebody wanted to fight the 7-foot Zubas, and somebody else had Saric in a headlock. It ended rather quickly without police intervention. Croatia basketball now says the players were acting in self-defense.
This was 5:30 in the morning. Like
It's
leave
Athens, baby.
the
That's like
club.
noon. No, come on. They're just getting started.
I was like, was this like a morning rave? Like, or just
Well, that's Athens, right? Is it like Mykonos and all those places? They go all night, all day.
But still, you're a professional athlete. You're not like out in Ibiza, club goer it's not Manny out there, you know? Like, you're Dario Saric and Zubac, you might be a target, you realize, if you're there till 5:30 in the morning. You're not putting any of this on the players at all? Get yourself out of there at 5:30.
Yesterday, you were promoting passing out in tubs. This is how you pass out in a tub. You're in the club in Athens until 5:30 in the morning.
When I pass out in a tub, it's like midnight. But also, I wasn't promoting it. I was just admitting it. A little different.
I just think, a Croatian player in Greece, like, you expect him to be in bed by 11? Like, these are cultures that stay up all night long partying.
I'm sorry, 2:30, 3 a.m. doesn't get your rocks off enough. It's got to be 5:30 in the morning.
Maggie's bedtime.
Have you guys ever been in these places? I heard the party starts around 2.
I haven't been more east of Long Island.
Like in Greece, like
I've been there, yes.
They start at like 1 or 2 is when like everyone gets going. So you go from like 2 to 7?
Yeah, this is like lunchtime.
Yeah.
Right. They serve coffee at these things?
They do. We get kegs and eggs.
Yeah, I don't think they do that.
I've had experiences where I can't remember where I was, where the restaurant didn't open until 10 p.m. We're like, let's get the early bird special. Like, oh, great, come in at 10 p.m. I'm like, are you kidding me?
That sounds like Spain.
Yeah, I can't remember where it was, but yeah, no, this is also too the accents in that fight. It was hysterical. I am not surprised at all that a bunch of Yugoslavian basketball players are throwing down in a Greek bar at night.
Saric is tall, but he's just tall. Zubac looks like he should be like a Rocky villain.
He's huge.
Yeah, you want no part of that.
Well,
if you're picking a fight with that guy, you deserve whatever comes your way.
After like a half a bottle of Ouzo, do you even know what day it is? You certainly don't know what time it is. Just watching the sun come up.
Meanwhile, as you might have heard once or twice or 3 times last hour, Sixers rookie Jared McCain did not impress in his Summer League debut last night, but Zach Edey did.
There it is. It hit the rim. There's a tap. Oh! You called it! Edey taps it home! Edey taps it in off the miss.
That's Craig Bolerjack and Thurl Bailey on the call. The Grizzlies missing a free throw on purpose with tenths of a second left on the clock, and Edey fought through traffic, tipped it in, beating the buzzer to force overtime, where he and the Grizzlies did still lose to the Jazz 97-95. Edey finishing with 14 points, 15 boards, and 4 blocks. Now, most teams beat the Chicago White Sox this season, but no one does it better than the Twins.
Pitch lined into center field. That's a base hit. Kep's going to score. Buck make it all the way to third base. So the Twins, first and third, one in, now lead 7-6.
That's from Twins Radio. Minnesota added on one more to win 8-6 in 11 in Chicago. They've won all 8 meetings with the Sox this season.
Sounded like a lot of people were there, too.
They're waiting for you to be GM.
Or go home in one car.
One more note from this game. Cody Funderburk got the save for the Twins. Unfortunately,
not related?
No, to Lawrence. Lawrence has an E at the end of Funderburk. This Funderburk family dropped that E somewhere. So Cody is not still could have been the son of the Ohio State player.
Man, Lawrence Funderburk, what a cool name.
Yeah.
Also, he looked like he was going to be a superstar. I'm still not quite
sure. Him and
sure.
Jim Jackson, right?
Oh, my God. All those guys look great. By the way, one thing, when you give the Vegas or the Summer League results, can you give standings too? Because I want to hear, in my mind, who wins the Summer League is actually a bigger deal than who wins the in-season tournament.
Isn't this the California League? It's not even the Vegas League.
This is not even that. This is the Salt Lake City League.
Oh, my goodness. They have one in Salt Lake City?
This is a Salt Lake Review.
At the Delta Center?
Yeah.
Can we put up a poll? What's more important, winning the Utah Summer League or the in-season tournament? Just because EJ's not here?
Oh, it's the Summer League for sure.
Yeah. That's a huge
I'm sorry, is there not a dunk contest or a skills competition we could also put up against it?
My favorite things are that the Kings have 2 teams and play twice on the same day. And I don't understand the China team, by the way. The China team's out there. I watched them play yesterday, and there's 3 black guys on the China team. I'm like,
is one Marbury?
I don't know what's happening there. They're really good, though.
Corey Seager homered for a 13-game hit streak in the Rangers' 4th straight win, 9-4 in Anaheim, and the Braves topped the D-backs 5-4 in 11 for a 3-game win streak. The March domestic violence arrest of Steelers corner Cameron Sutton has been very costly. First, he lost $10 million in guarantees when the Lions released him because of all of this, and now his 8-game personal conduct policy violation will cost him $537,000 in lost salary. And finally, Keegan Bradley, not Tiger Woods, will be the U.S. Ryder Cup captain next year. At Bethpage, talks with Tiger have been going on for months, but they did not reach a deal for some reason. So Bradley gets the gig after playing twice for the U.S.
Well, why would they? I understand why they would want to pick Tiger Woods as the captain, but I mean, at this point, why are we going down that road again?
Well, how do you not finish it? Like, how do you not come to some agreement that leads to Tiger Woods being the U.S.? Everyone knew they were talking about it.
Right.
Everyone assumed he was going to get the job. How do you not finish this off?
Well, money.
No, I mean, that's not about money. It's probably about, like, schedule. They probably wanted him to do, like, play. It probably somehow compromise whatever little bit he wanted to play, and he said no. He's not holding out for an extra $10.
Well, what's Tiger doing right now?
Trying to be a player still, probably.
Yeah, he's not like he's doing any meet and greets.
Yeah, it might be his fault. I mean, my point is, like, this is something that should have been completed. It should have ended with Tiger being the captain, not Keegan Bradley getting, whatever it's called.
Second place?
Yeah, well, not second place, but sloppy seconds.
Is it a big deal to be the captain? It
is,
kind of is, right? But it's not always the best player.
No, and it's usually an older player. Bradley at 38 should have been in contention of playing. Instead, he's going to be the captain.
It's not like Tiger's opening up a new Target or something.
He might be.
A Top Golf.
He's at home with his money and then no
He can
wife.
barely walk. Did you say no wife? Oh, geez.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
Can barely walk. Tiger can walk fine.
He's got a caddy for Charlie.
First of all, Tiger can barely walk, but he spends 6 hours a day in the gym. He looks like jacked. Get out of here. He's fine.
Bogusch,
I'm with Pete.
Thank you so much.
You're with Pete. Are you sure?
That's right.
You want to be with Pete?
Coming up, we do have to update this Cowboys story for you. We'll do that next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. 1 minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
That's the Cowboy Quickie music. So we got a little Cowboys news for you, and it's about CeeDee Lamb, Perloff. And CeeDee Lamb says he's not going to take any questions about his contract when he hosts a youth football camp that starts today. Said on Twitter X, I'm not speaking about any contract negotiations. If that's your questions, you'll get 0 answers. It's about the kids. CeeDee Lamb trying to keep the main thing about the main thing, and that's your Cowboy Quickie.
Yeah. So what's the question? CD, how's 11-year-old Darren look over there? Like, what the about to get? So what are you supposed to ask him? But I do. I actually
scout the kids at the camp.
To get a separation?
I think he's learned his lesson from Dak Prescott, who's been basically answered questions at the weirdest places of all time. It's like Dak Prescott says he's hopeful they will resolve the contract at a opening of a mattress store in Frisco. Like Dak is at all these random places answering questions. So CD is probably smart to do this.
See, I think he's let the Cowboys off the hook with this. Like, I get it. You want to make it about the kids. It's admirable. It's noble. I'm saying this half joking, but like, if you really want to apply pressure and get a new contract, you're going to have to get a little uncomfortable. And
don't show up to training camp.
Well, that is going to be a given. And, you know, Ezekiel Elliott was down in Cabo, remember, training on the sand, and he got a contract as, you know, as silly as that might have been at the time. But you got to make it a little bit messy because you got to get the fans on your side. And it's really hard to do. For some reason, fans will always choose the team over the player, or very often. And you've got to bring them back on your side. Say, hey, I'm out here doing my part. I'm trying to give back, and all I want is the Cowboys to meet me at the table or whatever, you know?
Yeah, it's funny when you mentioned CeeDee Lamb. I'm not sure that there'd be a huge public outcry. If I feel like Micah is a big deal. Like, if they ever played around with him, that would be huge. And I think a lot of fans want to get rid of Dak, so that one's different. I don't know that the fans are ever going to be, like, all about CeeDee Lamb. Maybe I'm putting my own fandom there first, but I'm not sure Lamb will get that kind of energy.
Okay, well, but tell me if you don't think this about Cowboy fans. Are you a little, just not even a full 10%, but maybe 8.5% nervous about Micah Parsons trying to juggle being the media thing that he is and also being the football thing? He's been awesome as a football player, so it's obviously not bleeding over. But is there a part of you in the back of your mind where you're just like, is this guy going to cause a controversy because of something he says on his podcast?
Personally, I think you have 25 other problems ahead of that. Like, it's so far down on your list of issues. I mean, look at your owner. First of all, start there. Look at your coach. Look at your quarterback situation. I don't know. I feel like Micah is such a gem for that franchise that, for me, it wouldn't bother me.
Finally, you can go and vote. The first region of the Maggie Perloff Sitcom Bracket is out. You can see it on our Twitter handle, X account, which is Maggie and Perloff. So go and vote. We're going to have the poll up for about 24 hours, and then tomorrow we'll reveal the next region in our bracket. Today, the big controversy is Saved by the Bell, a sitcom. I can tell you right now, Saved by the Bell is losing very narrowly to the 5th-seeded That 70s Show, 52-48.
So that's probably the closest battle we got going.
It's very close. Yes, you're right. Another close one right now, the Brady Bunch and Sanford and Son. Fresh Prince is really taking a big lead here on Schitt's Creek. 30 Rock taking a big lead on the Bernie Mac show. And Pete, you'll be happy to know I Love Lucy taking care of the Beverly Hillbillies.
Yes, let's show that show a little bit of respect, I think.
I Love Lucy.
At least get out of the first round and beat the Beverly Hillbillies.
Yeah.
So I would love to see, I think next round, How I Met Your Mother versus I Love Lucy. The analysts are talking a lot about that one.
That's going to be, a lot of eyes will be on that.
Where's Ken Palm on that one? Yeah. So anyway, go vote. Hang with us. Come back tomorrow to get another 16 shows revealed.
Yeah, and listen, if you call in, remember, there are more shows coming. Don't yell at us because your show wasn't there. It could easily be revealed later this week.
However, we do know the snubs that have already been snubbed. Some of the snubs.
Shamil, Shamazel, Fizz and Fuzz Incorporated. We're going to do it. Is that how it goes?
Something like that.
I can mispronounce pretty much I can't do song lyrics. I'll do that tomorrow. For every show, I'll sing the theme song incorrectly.
Wow, lucky us. Thank you to Pete Pilati and to Manny Rodriguez and to Andrew Bogusch and Andrew Kaplan, the Weedos, the Coffee Drinkers. See you tomorrow.
You're in a 5-minute break.